Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Terminus podcast. This is episode number 124 for the weeks of June 22nd, 2019. I am your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral, and with me this week, my engineers are Brett Wiebold and Jacob Durbin.
Hello.
Our fireman is Jared Cole. He can shovel about 5 times as much as a normal fireman, and he breathes fire. And our brakeman this week is Reese Williams, which has the honor of having met us in person, having sought us out at the Big Boy in Ogden. So welcome.
I'm not sure to call it an honor. He had the misfortune of running
right,
into
yeah,
us.
sorry, you know.
You guys also called me a foamer in another podcast as well, might I add.
Yeah, well, takes one
We
to know
call
one.
everybody foamers.
Even Madison's a foamer.
We all
Just
are.
make something clear, foamers don't wear ponchos, and I was wearing a poncho, so...
No, foamers do wear ponchos, as evidenced by the fact that you were wearing a poncho. Anyway, before something else happens, the train will terminate at this station.
Okay, this week we are in something that looks like Minecraft, but not as good. We're apparently in the Hollow.
Ooh!
Shots have been fired.
Fighting
That's
words.
shots fired, dude.
Them's are
Terraria's
fighting
pretty
words.
good, just for the record. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good as MC.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree, honestly.
Mm.
I don't think it's better. I don't think it's worse. It's a different kind of game. It just
That's
the
fair.
only thing it shares is the fact that there's a lot of squares. And speaking of a lot of squares, CSX derailed. Although they were not first. So Class 1 Medal of Responsibility this week, starting off with BNSF on June 14th. They had. Oh, this was in Memphis. Memphis man dies after truck collided with train.
Oh.
Yeah, cut the background noise, please. A man has died after his truck collided with a train in Germantown. I feel like that's unfair to the train. It collided with the train? The train hit it, probably.
Yeah.
The train derailed after hitting a truck. Yeah, E-Box truck. Like I said, man did not survive, unfortunately, but that's what happens when you get hit by a train.
Mm-mm.
It was all unloaded TTX cars, by the looks. And
Oh, no wonder it derailed.
Yeah, they got all over the place. So, BNSF also derailed again 2 days later. Corn hauling train derails in rural Nebraska, spilling corn everywhere, as you might expect. BNSF train, nearly half a dozen cars derailed about 1 mile south of Waterbury, Nebraska. Twisted metal and overturned train cars. That makes it seem awfully dramatic. Although there is one literally upside down. It's as if somebody placed it there. The wheels are still on. The trucks didn't even fall off. It rolled over, and it's just there.
There.
7 to 8 cars left the tracks, spilling corn. You know, that's that. It's clearly BNSF, because all the cars say BNSF. CSX Transportation then derailed a couple days after that, on June 19th. Well, actually, it was not a derailment. There was just a train on fire. So, Hull Station just passed. Old Hull Station, third photo courtesy of Evan Armstrong. Yeah, that's on fire.
I've been smoking too many cigarettes, because after all, we all know what CSX stands for. It stands for cigarettes, sandwiches, and Xanax.
Okay.
Stands for Crash Smash Explode.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Then outside of Elko...
That's a new one.
Jader, can I have your Elkos? Elko County Sheriff's Office said I-80's back open after a train that derailed. Why did they have to close the interstate? That's why. The train was carrying...
I was going to say, is there a photo?
The train was carrying munitions, including grenades and bombs. But the rail cars carrying these are at the opposite end of the train, away from the derailment.
I was driving Michael J. Caboose.
Yeah. Deputies say the white powder seen in photos and cocaine... Deputies say the white powder seen in photos and videos is reported to be aluminum oxide, but the substance is not hazardous. So,
Sure, it's
yeah,
not
23 cars
Let's
involved
just
in the
cover
derailment, 23 at the site. It's really interesting how this happened, because the train is mostly intact, but it looks like it just smooshed up. Mostly empty loaded lumber cars and some hopper cars carrying aluminum oxide. So that's that for this week. Really fairly uneventful. One fire, a couple of minor derailments, and unfortunately one person killed, but not the worst we've had for sure. But over the past
I
couple
know
of
it's
weeks...
not in the. Sorry, go ahead.
What? No, sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, yeah, I know it's not in the manual of responsibility, but did you guys see that? What was it?
Reese, stop shuffling
Background
around,
noise,
please. If you can mute your mic when you're not talking, that'd be very much appreciated, because you have a lot of background noise.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So did you guys see this? What was it? This BNSF train? I think on a NDM train or something that hit what I believe is a cocaine truck.
No.
No.
No. Go
Hold
on.
Oh, I'll try to. I'll find the picture and I'll show it later. But the front
Okay,
of it
this
is
is
just
getting
like
interesting.
okay. But the front of the engine is just like completely white. Some of the handrails are bent and all that stuff. And then I forget who posted it in the Discord, but somebody posted a picture of it in the Discord, and the Mexican railroad fixed it up real nice, like it looks brand new, at least on the front.
Yeah, for all the cocaine money.
Exactly.
That's the Colombians. Don't be ridiculous.
It has to pass through Mexico to get here.
No, that's the Mexicans as well, because you got Los Zetas running things now.
Avocados from Mexico.
Oh,
Anyway, so
Continue.
in the past
I can't really tell the difference.
in the past couple of weeks, TJ has seen an awful lot of P&W trains, and I haven't, which annoys me to no end, because he doesn't even look for them. He just happens to find them. He saw a train switching Industrial Way or whatever in Pawtucket, which is almost street running. The tracks go into a median, and then they go to one side, and then they go to the other side, and there's all industries up there. And I've always wanted to see a train up there, but it's so rare because it's just at a industrial spur. And he was just driving over there, and he just happened to see one, and then he saw another train in Providence Yard the other day, and I was like, all right. I see how it is.
Cries in lack of freight train.
Yeah, well, thankfully O'Gillies is... Well, not thankfully, I guess. No. Thankfully O'Gillies is coming over in a few weeks, and we're actually going to make a little adventure up to Selkirk and go hang out at the CSX yard, and hopefully not get in too much trouble. But
We're gonna get arrested.
yeah.
Yeah, well. As long as they don't take your names, you're good.
Well, see, they did that. Not at Selkirk, though.
We could go to a Chili's hookup spot in Salt Lake.
I should clarify, as long as they don't take your name twice.
Right. Hopefully they won't have to take it twice, because the second time I'll run away. Because when you run from the cops, nothing can go wrong.
Of course not.
Famous last OJ.
You know.
Famous last.
I mean, in fairness,
in fairness, he got off.
He's the exception.
Ugh.
Because he's juice.
Because he's juice. OJ, I'll have you for breakfast. Anyway. What else? I don't think I have anything else really train related, although I did do Jader's route review. Love that route. I think I might do a stream in it to show how easy it is to take a route from a 2 to like a 9 in terms of automation, or in terms of operations. Because that was the one thing that hurt you the most, Jader.
Yeah. I mean, it got to the point where it was not unplayable, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to finish it where it looks good. Not perfect, but where it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of leave it there. Maybe I'll come back to it when I get 19 properly, good. Once I get a new graphics card.
Yeah, I was about to say at this point when you get a computer upgrade because you bought it the other day, right?
Yeah. So I was saying for probably the past week or so. I'm going to buy Trains 19 when I get paid and I can spare the money. I got paid Friday. I'm like, all right, I have a little bit of extra cash. I'll go buy Trains 19. I get on the website. It's on sale for, I think, 25% off. Click.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. I spent that most of that day downloading it and then getting it up and going. And I gotta say, I'm impressed with it. It looks really good. Even with the settings on low, it still looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, like they say, you need a GT 430 or better is like the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like if you're running like a really old route or a very low detailed route. Because on Mattapoisett, it was barely better than Tane.
Oof.
Yeah,
that's kind of a shame.
It is better than Tame though.
It's better. It's better looking, but it's same performance.
Well,
better looking. I mean, the performance seemed a little better, but like not where it's like, wow, I'm glad I bought this.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But again, at least it's the it looks a lot better, and the performance is about the same, if not marginally better. At least it's not. Yeah, it looks a lot better, but I literally cannot run it.
Tane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at some point I'm gonna, hopefully before I go back to school, get a new graphics card, and then get grinding away on my new project.
Mm-hmm. But you need to save up some money because we're going to the cats.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
Meow.
All right, we'll probably talk about that in a little while. Do we have an article about that?
I don't know that we do actually. I have one on 168.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it then. Whatever. We're probably going to make that
Milky posted something in the cats group or the group.
We'll get there. Just the schedule
Okay.
for
Oh,
it.
it's just like a calendar. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We can still show it off anyway.
Oh yeah.
I have been thwarted by trolleys on the route. I've talked about that before, but I think I just might have too many of them, and then some of them start to drive backwards, so I might need to re-add direction marks, or I need to add more, whatchamahoots? Thingies? Some more track marks, drive via, etc. The other thing I might want to do is put some signals going the other direction, because I think that because all of my signals and all the trolley track is unidirectional, the trolleys think, oh, I have a clear block all the way around to the other station, but going the wrong way, because there are no signals between it and the station, because they're all facing the other direction. So it's running through signals that are facing, that it's running through the backs of signals, so it isn't getting a red signal, because there are none.
Have you thought about doing, I guess, sort of bi-directional signaling?
I think I'll have to. I think I'll have to set up something like that and just make the signal blocks for going the other direction really long to discourage that sort of thing. To just discourage them. And adding more track marks and stuff. The only reason is I'm hesitant to bring out, or to make an individual loop longer, because I know I will have to program about 1 million loops, and if a loop is 6 commands versus 8 or 10, that's a lot fewer commands I have to put in the long run. Because if I have to put in 20 loops, that's an extra 40 commands or 80 commands.
You need more loops, brother.
I know, loops. But I'm looking into some solutions for that will let me add basically subroutines, like the schedule command. I don't know. I need to investigate further because I don't totally understand it yet, but I have an idea of how it should work. I have an idea of how it should work.
In theory.
Yeah. Eventually, though, I'm making some pretty good progress scenery-wise, and eventually I'll get this area finished and be able to move on to the next one. And by, in the same stroke, I will move on to Train 19.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm excited about that.
I actually tried to go look at and watch trains yesterday with my friend. Of course, when we're trackside, not a single thing comes by, but as soon as we get back to his house, it's train after train after train.
That's always how
At
it
least you were
goes.
by the tracks there.
Yeah, we heard him. And then that was it. We're just like, God damn it. Of course, when we're not by the tracks, they come by all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
We had that in Utah.
They had
Yep.
what? Sorry.
Trying to rail van and no trains came by.
Oh, yeah.
Until the very
sitting
end.
on the side of the road.
Yeah. Right before that was right before you killed Milky.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's dead now.
He's dead. That's why he's not here.
Press
Yeah.
F.
He was
GG,
able
guys. GG.
he was able to talk about it last time, but that's because Weibold was using a Ouija board.
Ouija board?
A
A Wojo
Ouija
board?
board?
A
La
Luigi board.
Weg board.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have too much to talk about. I didn't get to go to the model railroad. I rode the train to work, but that's not unusual. What do you guys do in the past couple of weeks, train-related wise? I know, Weibold, you got fed up with Lucy and decided to scrap her.
Yeah. I mean, that's
My
really
TP
been...
Lucy fucking dies.
Yeah, I mean, that's really been the last couple weeks of my life is just working at the museum. We've been grinding like crazy on 20.
Literally.
Yeah, like literally going back and doing a lot of work that we were hoping we wouldn't have to do, but oh well. So that was fun. I posted a picture in the chat yesterday of it was hacking up the running board a little bit with a cutting torch, jokingly. Oh, I got fed up. We decided to just scrap Lucy.
Hey, we're going to talk about that more a little bit later, and I have a theory. I already shared it with you, Weibold, but I'm going to...
Yeah, that's the one that we settled on at the museum.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It does. That's why they never got rid of her.
Anyway. Yeah. I guess we just didn't have a whole lot to do. I mean, Weibold, you did a lot, but it can be summed up like that. That said, you also have, something new decorating your floor, I heard.
I do. I have a Lego train track running in a giant dog bone all the way around the apartment because I wanted to play choo-choos. And so I went and I bought like a couple $100 worth of Lego track because Lego track is Lego is really, really expensive, particularly the train specific parts. The reason I didn't get super into it when I was younger is because it was just too damn expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's really expensive, and particularly with the track, it takes up a lot of space. It's between O and G in terms of gauge and scale. So you need a lot of room, and the track is really, really, really pricey. But, so, hopefully I'll have updates on that in the future. I'm waiting on parts right now to build a locomotive. But, yeah,
That
Jader, you
locomotive
did...
being?
491.
Yeah.
I think maybe I can get a picture of the 91 I'm going to be building so we can have like a digital comparison to the actual thing comparison eventually. Let me see if I can find a picture. Anyway, somebody else want to...
Well, Jader, I noticed, posted a picture of his map.
Yeah, so what was it? When I bought 19 and like in the process leading up to it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna build something because I had, my mindset at the time was, okay, 19's gonna run great. I'll be able to build this mega out right away. Not quite, but that means I can plan for it and flesh out the idea more.
Yeah.
In fairness, it does run really well if you turn the graphics down.
I was gonna
You
say
can
right
get
now I have everything on low, and probably what I'm gonna do, like I can I should be fine with doing like track work and terrain and that kind of stuff. Scenery is where it starts to hurt.
Yeah, well, what you can do is, oh, that's weird. Never mind. You can get it to look about the same as Tane, and it'll just run better.
I'll need to mess with that.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to upgrade my graphics card.
I want a little bit of
needs
both.
it.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
get a little bit of both.
I'm running into a new bottleneck, which I installed the RAM that Achilles gave me, and so it's basically like I've upgraded almost everything on my computer in the past couple of years. New hard drive, although that's a little bit old. The new graphics card from TJ, the new RAM from Achilles, and the only thing left, really, is for me to replace the processor, and that is a big deal. It's not
Right.
something I've ever done before. It's a little bit more in-depth than doing something like adding more RAM. I'm nervous about doing that.
I was nervous when I replaced my processor too.
Oh, you actually did?
Yeah,
Oh man, I want your
Remember-
advice then.
I mean, you have to make sure you get the same socket type,
Yeah.
but then you just unscrew the fan and it's like right there, and you flip the little lever and it comes right out.
You need to add like thermal paste or something, don't you?
My processor came with the one I got came with it pre-installed, so I didn't have to do it.
Oh wow, well,
It was,
that's nice.
it was pre-pasted.
Pre-paste.
Pre-pasted.
Points
Yeah.
for pasties. Okay. Well,
Points for
Reese, have you
paste.
done anything?
Like what, for instance?
I don't know anything
Like,
like,
have you
we've
got-
been talking about. Train stuff.
Like, have you gone rail fanning? Do you volunteer anywhere?
Well, not
Yeah.
really. I've got a local switcher yard in the town I live in right now. You know, like there's, I think it's like Illinois or something like that. I don't know. It says on the side of diesels there, but not much has been happening in my neck of the woods up here in Glove World. I'm
Glove
from Michigan,
World.
by the way.
Yeah, I forget about that because I associate you with seeing you out at Ogden. Glove World.
Yeah.
Hey,
I come from up in Glove World. Yeah.
You come from a land up there.
Yeah.
Do you come from a land way up there?
I'll just kind of,
I'll see myself out.
I'll just kind of like sum up my mega route.
But
all at
I've
once
mostly
you're
just been kind of trying to track video game news lately because I'm a huge video game nerd.
Loser. No, I'm kidding. So are we. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm really hoping to get my hands on the Cyberpunk 2077 Collector's Edition. Have you seen it? Like, have you seen pictures of it? It makes all Collector's Editions look weak. I'm not making this up.
Bethesda.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about it, but that's really neither here nor there. This
Yeah.
isn't the video game podcast, so I'd love to talk more
Yeah.
about it, but
Something train related that I might be doing though. I'm hoping to catch the Paramount 1225 Sunset Limited, which is their color tour that they do up to Cadillac every fall.
oh, cool. Yeah, do that.
I'm also going up to the Buckley Old Engine Show up in Traverse City, which is it's not really train related, but it is everything steam.
Yeah, it counts.
So
Road
that's
locomotive.
gonna be cool. There's gonna be like old steam traction engines. You know, if you ever watch Thomas the Tank Engine, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I like children.
God damn it. He is here.
He is here.
He is,
Unfortunately, he has left
he
us.
is no longer here.
Unless he's. Hang on.
Anyway.
Unless
I
he's
don't
come
think.
back.
I don't think he's back. I don't think he's back. It's gone.
Nope, he's gone.
Anyway, so my
Yeah,
mega
let's give you your route here.
I'll kind of okay. So I decided to, come up with a mega route, and I figured, okay, all my previous mega routes have been, I'm just
Lame.
either Ellis, you make me a map, or I just kind of blow something up in my head and go with
Right.
it.
Right.
This I decided to actually base off of something real, so I have something to, as a reference.
Mm-hmm.
To that end, I based all of this off of really just Southeast Ohio in general, but in particular the Hocking Valley. And
That's
And
a
then-
lot of coal.
Yep, this was from, I forget the date, but this was a map on the CNO Historical Society archives. Finally figured out how to search those. But it just showed all the coal mines between Columbus and Athens and then down to the river.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
The van down by the river.
Jesus.
from I think the 20s. But yeah.
So is
Gonna
the
be
railroad here a specific railroad? Is this CNO? Or
Yeah,
is it...
CNO. Well, it was built as the Hocking Valley, and then in 1930 the CNO took it over.
Mm-hmm.
I just use them interchangeably.
Chesapeake
Okay.
and Ohio.
I'm just looking at it, I'm like, damn, that's big.
It is.
Yeah.
Are you gonna... Okay, here's a question for you, because it's driving me nuts otherwise. Are you gonna close the link between, what is that, Pomeroy and Athens down at the bottom? Are you gonna build the New York Central through there, or are you gonna leave that tiny little gap?
I don't know yet. Thing is, what I'm going to do, and I included all the other railroads as dotted lines.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is build the Hocking Valley, and then I guess if I don't know, if I just feel like it, if I get that done, or if I get bored, or want to do something different, whatever, then I'll start filling in the gaps.
Okay.
Get
Yeah.
closest.
Also, I just looked down the bottom, almost heaven.
Yep.
West Virginia. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Do you know where you're gonna start?
I might start. I'll probably start in Athens because I can really only go north from there. Either I'll start there or somewhere. I'll start at one end. I won't start somewhere in the middle.
Well, yeah, I was expecting you to start at Columbus, honestly, because you got a single line there. But
I might do that. That's actually not a bad idea. Start there and then just work my way south. The thing is, I don't really want to start with a giant.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the problem.
can.
If you do that,
You'll start in Columbus and you'll leave Columbus sometime next year. Excuse me.
that's very optimistic.
Yeah. Was that like even vaguely understandable?
Oh yeah, no, I understand what you said. It was just
Okay. Okay, good.
I don't understand anything that's going on right now.
It's okay.
Well,
I don't know.
Welcome to the Terminus
I'm a bit of an
podcast.
idiot, to be honest.
to anybody that thinks we have any idea of what any of us are doing at any given moment, ha!
But yeah, I'll come up with something. But like sort of like Weibold pointed out, this is going to be a primarily coal route with a little bit of iron on the river division to Pomeroy, which I can't confirm if they actually had iron ore down there, but I think they did, because there's a bunch of towns along the old line that are named like Union Furnace and Vinton Furnace and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going off of.
Okay.
Then there's another town down there called Orton. So
iron or
perhaps
blacksmithing, yeah.
Iron or what?
I don't know. I mean, what else would you put in a furnace?
Gold.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Go.
Explosives.
Well, did we think the same thing and it was not good?
Explosives. That's what you put in a furnace.
Yeah.
Then you put
What did we do, Ellis?
I said, did we think the same thing and it was not good? Because I heard a pause and then you go, never mind.
Oh, no. I mean,
Okay.
I get that thought. I was trying to make a stupid pun out of iron ore, like iron ore what?
And I just said explosives.
God damn it.
Because that would be the
Wow.
But no, I catch your drift on what you're getting
Well, I'm
at. Yes, we're
disappointed
terrible
that-
for it.
What do you?
Well,
What do we
disappointed.
put?
Tell Madison to smack you.
She's not here, but yeah, I will.
Point.
But yeah, pro tip for anybody doing, I guess, route planning or just research in general. I don't know if they have it for other states. I'll look and see. But west2k.com, they have they break up Ohio county by county, show all the current depots, show all the old depots, and then at the bottom of the page they have a map from, let's see, the one I used for this was from 1898. But they had the maps broken up
Mm-hmm.
or they had a state rail map broken up by county, which was a lot easier than trying to go off of a state map.
Yeah.
When is this going to be based?
That was my next question.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I could do the 20s and have coal trains literally everywhere, or I could do the 50s where the coal's pretty much wound down except for the Monday Creek branch up through Carbon Hill and everything. Or
you could
I
do something really unique and do like the 1890s.
But when was your map from?
1898.
Yeah, just follow the map.
Oh, that's 1 year before when Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place. Great game, by the way.
I don't know.
Wrong part of the country, though.
There's not a lot of stock from, that era. But think about it. How many
that's
routes have you seen from the 1890s? It's just kind of a neat thing.
I don't know. I think I might just do kind of a safe bet, like maybe the 20s to the 70s.
Yeah.
And just kind of, if I feel like running a shit ton of coal trains, I can run coal trains. If I feel like running, Chessie Jeeps on, to Nelsonville and back, I can do that.
No, you should have each part of the route in a different era. That'd be fun.
Just go through like a time tunnel.
Going
Yeah.
the way you're traveling forward in
Time
going the
tunnel?
other way you're traveling back in time.
Yeah.
TARDIS, the tank
So, yeah.
engine. Oh.
As you go south, you have to swap out your moguls for Mikados, and then your Mikados for, for
Jeeps.
Malays, and then the
And
Malays
just
for Jeeps.
discreetly stick the TARDIS from Doctor Who in there somewhere, just as a little Easter egg.
No, it's on
I
the flight
will.
car behind the engines
He's
at all
done that
times.
before.
Yeah, I have. I can't remember on what, but I have.
You also
I know
put
there's
all of
like
us.
5 or 6 of them on the Horseman route.
Really?
There's a lot of them because everybody puts the TARDIS in as an Easter egg. I know there are at least 2 on the narrow
I don't know. I
gauge.
put a Volvo in.
Oh. There's also the hole.
Yeah.
I would put dragons in there, but there's no dragons in trains.
No, but there's giant push pins and a massive thing of
Forget
Jupiter.
dragons,
Just say there's also a moon.
Sarlacc.
Wait, a what?
The Sarlacc pit, those monsters from episode
Yeah.
6 of Star Wars?
We have one of those. It's just very small and black.
Yes.
So it's basically Kevin Hart, pretty much.
Ooh.
I don't know if
If
that's savage or just accurate.
or is that a point? I don't know.
That's probably a point.
It's all
Also,
of the
why
above.
would you get a point?
Not
Oh,
inaccurate,
good.
though.
Somebody already gave Weibel a point for his pun.
Yeah, I did. You're welcome.
Good job. Proud of you.
I'm the point
I'm
police.
gonna give you a point for what we both thought.
Okay, that's fine. Give Reese a
It's
point
just
as well. I got it.
Yay, TV
Okay.
and I are clean.
Yeah, for now.
Hey, there's a point. I have
I'll
no
give you a
idea
point
what
for
that
being
means, but I'm
clean.
still gonna pat myself on the back. Good job.
Yeah, good job. We're not proud of you. Okay, well, I mean, if that's it... Oh, we didn't decide what we're doing for Locomotive Versus.
Oh, well, what else is new?
Also, for those in the audience, we have one open space for Locomotive Versus if somebody wants to submit an idea, and we're about to have
All-
2 if we
all
don't
like
decide
3
on
of
one in the
you.
next couple seconds. So,
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
Mega
steal
Rail.
shit
Yay.
with plug here.
I
I'm
will
gonna
provide updates as I make progress.
Locomotives. Just saying.
what'd you say?
Never mind.
Okay. Alright, well, I may select us a random Locomotive Versus if we don't have anything else to say on this and we don't have one selected.
And make the random locomotive versus like. something
Hey,
with-
we should just do 844 versus 611.
Ugh.
Yeah,
How about
okay.
Skook versus
No,
Skunk?
no, sorry, not that. I was testing if this 9-volt has any juice left in it, and it
I
kind
don't
of...
know. I kind of like to see like Johnson versus Sampson. That'd be interesting.
We can do that one. That one you just really need to not look at the column next to that one. Hold on, you know what? Let me do something real... Oh, I can't do it because I've got the thing. Does anyone have the snipping tool on their computer?
Yep.
Can you go and make snips of the proper columns for the S1 and the T1 and just drop them in the chat so that nobody is tempted to look away or to look at the other things?
I don't know what, huh?
You go into the steam locomotive for the Pura duplexes and snip the column for the T1s and snip the column for the S1s and put them both in the chat here so we can open them. Just copy it and... oh, wait, you can't because it's too long. Alright, whatever, we'll just have to go in the honor system.
Oh, because they're on the same page.
Because they're on the same page, yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
that's hard, though. Actually, you know
the
what?
other thing we could do is just say, let's go through them all in order and do all of the stats. That way we're, it doesn't matter. The stats are what they are.
I guess. No, but I'd rather have some...
I know there's the tactics to it, but like you say, it's a little bit tricky when they're right next to each other.
I feel like...
Or what if it wasn't the contenders looking at the stats, but the contenders
I was about to say that, TBA, that's a great idea.
The
All right.
contenders ask the questions, but somebody else looks at the stats.
Interesting. Okay.
Ooh,
Okay,
I
who's gonna be the contenders for this one, though?
Well, you're going to be the T1, obviously.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Dude, I think Weibold should be the
That's
S1.
not
No.
favoritism in any way.
Weibold is banned from
It's not
Locomotive
fair to have
Versus.
Weibold do it, so Weibold's gonna be the one looking at the sheets here.
Weibold is banned from Locomotive Versus.
Looks at Gauntlet, reality can be whatever I want.
The green stone lights. Oh wait, that's the time stone. Sorry. I think
Nerd. All
I
right,
finally
wait.
saw Endgame.
Reese, do you want to be the S1?
Sure, why not? I got no idea what I'm doing anyway. But
All right, well, we're gonna jump you in. Okay, Weibold, pull open this page because
Jump.
it's time for.
What's it? Oh, yes.
All right, and in one corner, we all know what these things look like, but I'll grab numbers of them, and pictures of them anyway.
I forget. I always confuse the Q2 with the S1, so.
I'm the S1, right?
Yes, but don't pull
Is
anything.
this the-
Don't pull anything
Is
open.
this the big boy?
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
No, this is.
Jesus Christ!
What is going on right now?
The Terminus podcast.
Unfortunately. Okay. Can we get pictures?
I'm trying to get a picture, and Google Images is not cooperating.
All right. I want a clean fight.
We're keeping it clean.
Below the. Yeah. Thank you,
No
Jack.
boiler kicks.
No,
No promises.
no running gear kicks. Is
Contact below
No
the
journal
waist.
kicks. Can't.
Very-
Don't mess with the
journal
journals.
kicks. There you go. Don't hit each other in the journals.
No headlight poking.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get a good picture of Samson. Samsonite, I was way
no
off.
dynamo dickery.
There are few pictures that get the full length of the thing.
Giggity.
Well,
Absolute unit.
Yeah.
if I had a nickel for every time.
I have -5. I have -1
Yeah.
nickel.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have too many nickels.
I'd have a couple of nickels.
But that's only really because of poor photography, I would think.
Yeah, well.
Alright, PRT1 versus the PRRS1. Johnson and Sampson. Okay, so I'm going to be representing the T1, but we cannot look at the stats. And Reese, you're going to be representing the S1, but you cannot look at the stats. You can look up as many pictures of the thing as you want, but you can't go on SteamLocomotive.com.
Wait, I can't look up my stats, but
You
No.
can't. We can't look up anybody's stats right now because of the fact that they're on the same page. We have to do them through a proxy, and that proxy is Weibold. So, I am going to pull up a random, unrelated Steam Locomotive page so I can remember what all the categories are. Reese, I recommend you do the same
let's just
thing.
make something clear that I got no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and pull up the. Just pick one of these. I picked the Niagara. Just open that page.
See.
Just open that page and look at all the categories. It's
Just pick
you know,
anyone.
what? Just pick
pick
any.
any
Just
page.
pick any page that isn't the T1 or the S1. Pick any page that isn't the T1 or the S1, and and look at all the categories. So
Okay, so is it gonna be like track of effort and stuff like that?
yeah, that stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Who do you guys think should go first?
Well, let's look at who was built first.
Okay. Who was built first?
The S1 was built in. The S1 was built in 1939, and the T1 was built in 1945.
Okay. All right, 1945. So I would like. Okay, looking at the two of them. I mean, I should know some of these things. Actually, easy one. Engine wheelbase.
Oh God. The T1 wins by 13 feet, which is a bigger wheelbase than a lot of steam locomotives in general.
What are the numbers?
51.92 on the T1 versus 64.3 on the S1.
Okay, and following that, I'm going to do overall wheelbase, engine and tender.
Sorry, I'm eating some turkey. Excuse me. The T1 wins at an even 107 feet.
I saw that coming.
Yep.
While the S1 is longer at 123.76.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the, or no, it is the longest reciprocating steam locomotive ever built.
Yep. There's another really easy one towards the top that I'm surprised you haven't gone after, Ellis.
Yeah.
Two, in fact.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's two of them. So, number built.
The T1 wins at 52 class members, while the S1 pales in comparison with 1.
And number in class.
Same numbers.
Yep.
We all have one of those days.
Alright, well, you'll get the ball sooner or later, Reese, when I screw something up. Alright, let's do something ballsy. Tractive effort.
Tractive effort, if I can find it, there it is. The S1 wins at 76,403 pounds.
Yay!
4,053
I win.
What is the T1s?
64,653 pounds.
70, what was it, 73 versus 61?
76 versus 64.
Ouch. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to win that. I figured the weight distribution would be worse. Alright, Reese, you get to pick a category.
Okay, let's see, tender fuel capacity.
Oh
I
boy.
was really hoping nobody would choose the tender. Actually, interestingly enough,
Hold on.
the T1 wins
The T1 wins?
by a considerable margin.
Excuse me, what?
Seriously?
The tender fuel capacity, the
That
the
is
T1
just
has,
typical. The one category I get to pick, I lose.
the
Story of my
T1
life right there.
the T1 has 42.6 tons of coal, whereas the S1 only has 26.5,
Oh, wow.
which is
What?
odd considering I thought they had the same tender.
I guess not. The S1 had its own special tender.
I guess so, with like
Did they,
half
like,
the coal
hold
capacity.
water or something?
Yeah, also the T1s use track pans very heavily.
Yeah.
As did a lot of PRR engines, but...
Hmm.
Okay, so let's do... Let's see... Oh, you know what? I'm looking at these numbers, and it's like, oh yeah, these numbers don't correspond to anything. Because I'm looking at the Niagara. Alright, so I'm not going to do that then. I'm not going to do that, because I know that's going to screw me. Oh god, all that stuff down there, I'm hosed. Factor of adhesion. Oh wait, no. I'm looking at the numbers here and assuming that they're the right thing. They're not.
Yeah. I was just looking at factor of adhesion, actually. It's
Fact-
kind of interesting number set.
Okay, factor of adhesion.
The S1 has a 3.68.
Oh, okay.
So to tie, you would need a 4.32 or
Yep.
better to win. The T1 has a 4.33.
Damn it!
Hey.
You lose by 0.1.
God damn.
Ooh.
Alright, Reese goes again.
Okay, let's see.
Both of which are terrible, by the way.
Yeah, they're not good. They're really not. They're not awful, but they're not good.
No, the Q2 is actually, just to throw this in there because why not, has by far and above the best of all the duplex
I'm
and
tempted
at
to
only
say
0.1.
Valve here just to get Ellis triggered.
Hold
but,
on.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
Wobbled was in the middle of saying something. What were you saying?
The Q2, just for the sake of saying so, the Q2 has by far and above the best of all the duplex and at only 0.1 off.
0.1? Oh. Yeah,
It's at a 3.9.
okay.
So it could actually be made heavier, and they would you could
It would-
potentially get to a 4.
Just throw some lead on it. Who did that? The Erie or the Virginian?
The Sumter.
Well, Sumter. Yeah, well, that's because they ruined the engines and then they had to.
I know they did.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, Reese, what were you saying?
Right. I'm tempted to say valve gear just to get you triggered, Ellis, but I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna do that.
Wait a minute, aren't they the same?
No, they're not.
Oh,
I'm gonna say weight on drivers.
Why? Okay.
Lighter is
Actually,
better.
that's a lot. I was going to say that's a lot closer than I thought. The T1 still wins, obviously, at 279,910. So basically 280,000
Yep.
versus 281,450.
Oh my.
chonk.
Yoink! I'll take that.
Fat.
I'll take it.
God.
Take
Fat
it.
engine.
Oh, speaking of weight points, let's do the engine weight.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
This one's
goodbye.
significantly less close. This is 502,000 versus 608,000 with the T1 winning
Yikes!
by a large margin. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do the total.
Okay. Give me the total engine. Give me the total engine and tender weight. Give it to me.
This one's actually fairly close. The T1 has 944,000 pounds, whereas the S1 tips the scales at more than 1 million pounds. 1,060,000 pounds.
God.
It's a big
Which-
one.
For those curious, is hang on, quick
A
maths. Is roughly 530 tons.
Jesus Christ! For one engine.
That's
For an engine.
yeah. To put that in perspective, that's the weight of that's just slightly under the weight of 4 91s.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That is
491.
That's okay.
Ha.
yeah.
Comedy.
All right. I want the minimum weight of rail.
Ooh, no, you don't.
Do I? I don't. Oh God!
No.
Damn it!
It's a tie at 117 pounds per yard.
Damn it! All right, Reese, you go ahead then.
Let's see. Boiler pressure.
Boiler pressure. You've done the exact same thing.
I knew
You're
it.
Same at 300 psi.
I knew that was coming.
Or
Okay.
20.7 kilopascals
All right.
for those playing.
I'm just picking these at random, if I'm honest.
Okay. Well, there are some that I know I'm going to lose real hard at. Look at
I'm
these.
looking at that one right now.
Look at these two engines side by side, Reese, and just think about what's different, what's better. You know. But
I'm looking at that one right
you're
now.
looking at, I'm sure you're looking at one of them. At least one of them. Many of
I'm
them.
looking at the big one.
The big one.
The big one. Well, the big few, but the big mechanical difference.
The big four. TM.
Yep. The Linner, the Limis, the Gwr, and the Southern.
We're.
The Gwr,
All
or Gwir if you're Welsh.
right, fine. Loco base ID.
I am at Welsh.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
The T1 or the S1 wins
Oh, damn.
at number 347 versus the T1, which is number 348.
God damn it! They were put it side by side.
They actually went. All 4 of the duplexes went in at the same time. It went S1, T1, Q1, Q2, 347, 348, 349, 350.
That means he got them all out of like the same book.
Yep.
You know.
Probably the same graphic in the same
Yeah.
book.
Okay. That means Reese is up. Right?
Okay, I wasn't going to do this before, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to say valve gear.
Oh crap.
Well, the S1 wins that. The T1 loses with Franklin Poppet, which is
Yeah, you know, you can't win them all.
no.
Wait a
The
minute.
valves are fantastic. The valve gear is yikes.
Yikes! Indeed.
I was gonna say.
Like,
I was gonna say. Is it
can we
type
get
A
Baker
or B?
valve gear with poppet valves on it?
Where can I get some?
Like, can we get Franklin or not Franklin? Jesus, Baker valve gear with rotary poppet valves on it.
Maybe it'd
Please.
probably be a pain in the neck,
Make-
though. It would probably end up
Please
make it
looking.
happen.
It would probably end up looking like Franklin Poppet in terms of the inner workings. Remember
Probably.
they cheated when they fixed it by
Yeah.
by turning it basically into a budget Caprati.
Yeah,
Uh,
which that's basically what Franklin Poppet is, unless you attach when you attach other valve gear to it,
Yeah. But
which it would be square as a brick.
yeah. I mean, they're going to be building the 5550 with the Poppet B, so it's going to fix a lot of the issues, and it's going to make it look still unique, but not a pain in the neck. Okay, let me think. What have we done?
Hey, spell priority, Dean.
What?
The Horseman chat.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I did that. Oh, wait, no, Wait, who won? Who's up? I forget.
Valve gear, he.
Oh, yeah, he won, of course.
Reese is up.
Yeah, I won.
All right,
with the
Reese,
valve gear.
keep going.
Right.
There's one category here. Well, that one I think you win at. You do 84 inches versus 80 inches.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
There's one category in particular that you could hit on, and you could pretty much take Ellis to the
One
cleaner.
set of categories. Yeah, I'm not winning
Which one
this.
is that?
I really don't think I'm winning this.
Which
You're
one
doing
is that?
pretty well
Which one
thus
is that?
far.
Tell me.
No!
I'm not going to tell
No.
you.
Okay.
Just look through your categories.
Guess I'll just have to pick one and cross my fingers. Mine heating.
What?
What?
I'm
TBA,
just
you're-
thinking stuff right here.
TVA, you're going
Can't
crazy.
hear you.
Alright, Reese, go ahead.
How about firebox area?
Oh boy.
And so it begins. The S1 squashes the T1 with 660 square feet versus 490 square feet.
Ooh.
Like, 490 is not small.
No, but 660 is larger.
660 is like is larger than a good number of the showrooms in IKEA.
Yes.
Like example apartments. Alright, Reese, continue.
Great area.
Here we go.
Yep. Great area. You also win at 132 square feet versus 92 square feet.
Okay, evaporative heating surface.
You also win at 5661 versus 4209.
Superheating surface.
2085 versus 1430. You win.
Jesus. Well, we're tied now.
Yet again. Combined heating surface.
7746 versus 5639. You win.
I can
And
just picture Ellis tearing his hair out right
I've
now.
lost the lead.
Yeah.
Evaporative heating surface. And
240
/ cylinder volume.
That's divided by. But yeah.
That's over cylinder volume. 247.4 versus 228.2.
Ooh, that's
8.
a closer one, but damn, I lost.
That is a closer one, which would indicate something up here, if I look at it, if I can find it, that is, that I'm curious about.
It's right in the middle
Yes.
of geometry related
There it is.
tractive effort.
Thank you. You knew exactly what I was going
Yeah.
for. Yep.
Well, I can't ask that, but
No. He could,
he could.
but
He doesn't know what we're talking about. Also, we
Nope.
have 20 points. We can go to style points if you so choose, Reese.
Don't know what that means, but okay.
It means we
Means
stop.
Style point.
We stop
like,
doing stats and we start talking about style, basically. The careers of the
What
engines.
was it, looks or whatever?
What?
Looks. It's like looks and crew comfort.
Everything
Stuff
that
that
isn't
wouldn't-
in the stats here.
Alright, let's go for style points.
Okay.
okay.
Alright, 11 versus 9. Alright, I would like a style point for not derailing at every single turn.
Oof.
Yes, I will give you that point. I was about to bring up something similar with the 6446. Like, why? There is no reason to have 6 pilot wheels. There's
they were
no reason.
overcompensating.
Well, there is a reason. There was a reason.
No, there's not.
No, there was.
What is that reason?
The reason was they couldn't get the. I believe no, that was for the S2. The S1, I think it was purely for weight distribution, but the S2 had 6-wheel pilot trucks, 6-wheel non-engine trucks, because of a lack of materials due to World War II.
That makes sense.
The
Like, they couldn't. Yeah, that makes
weight
sense.
distribution it's a reason, but it's a lousy reason. You want to have as little weight on the pilot truck. Well, I mean, not as little as you can, but you don't want to put a lot of weight on the pilot truck. You certainly don't want an even load distribution up there because it makes it track horribly.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of negates the purpose of a pilot truck. The trailing truck, definitely. But
Well, the trailing truck is huge because of that bedroom-sized firebox.
right. If there's... I mean, far be it for me to critique the Pennsylvania Railroad's designs.
How dare you?
It's kind of stupid of me, but if I really had to say something, I think it's the Q1 is smarter. Like, an extra driver set is the way to solve that problem.
Well, I mean, honestly, the Q2 is the smartest. The Q1 had its own issues.
That's true.
Yeah,
It still had the 6-4 whatever.
Ever made.
No, the Q1, the issue was it was a 4464 or whatever. It was a
Backward.
4644. But
Yeah.
the reason the Q2 had problems is because those second set of cylinders were smushed up against the firebox instead of being ahead of the second driver set.
Which is also curious because
So dumb.
there's actually a lot of advantages to having the pistons backwards like that.
Yeah, but the disadvantages are you're smushing your firebox, and they're right
That
next to your
too.
firebox,
That too.
which was the reasons that they were that they did not
That
build
they
more than
spun them
one.
around for the Q2s.
Yeah.
Anyways, this isn't about the Q1s, the Q2s.
Yeah. So style-wise,
The S1s should get a point for being the largest, though. The
Yeah.
largest whatever it was.
Definitely.
Rigid base, reciprocating engine.
yeah. Well, the only things that are larger are like those giant chunky turbines that the C&O made and the whatever. The NW had their big thing that looks
wow.
like it's out of Tron.
There's a photo in the cab of the S1 I'm looking at. Oh, it's beautiful.
I think I have that photo. I have that saved.
Oh, it's
Post that to the side, you can
beautiful.
look at it.
It's got 3 Stoker manifold control gauges.
Can
Oh.
you send it?
Oh.
I just couldn't send it.
And I need a moment to myself.
Well,
Dang, I can't send it. It's on Pinterest.
I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I
Okay,
have it
if you
saved.
got it, that'd be
I'm pretty
great.
sure I do. Is this it, or is this T1 cab?
It's got 8 great... Oh, God.
I can't remember
It's
if
got
this is a
8
T1 cab.
great forks for the shakers.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, this is it. This is it.
Oh, sure.
I almost
I wonder what
accidentally
the
sent it to
enormous
Madison.
lever on the fireman's side is. That's the parking brake.
The parking brake. It's the
Looks like in
handbrake.
that-
It's for
it's
those
like the
tight
same
turns.
place, It's the handbrake.
Mother of God.
I gotta say, though, those windows make
I think
it
this is
look
it.
a bit like the house from the Amityville Horror, but,
I love the porthole windows. The Penzi, that's one thing on the Penzi, it's like mad respect for having your own style. The porthole windows are cool.
Speaking of which,
Wow.
point for the T1 for having an even more unique style.
Who streamlined the S1?
They were both done by Raymond Loewy.
They were both
by
low.
Raymond Loewy. Yes, the guy streamlined both of them.
I'm tempted to not say that one just because I think the styling is really objective.
That's fair.
Or, sorry, not other way around, subjective.
Yeah.
Like personally, I like the styling on the S1 more than I do the T1. The T1 is very unique, though.
Yeah.
I'll give you that all day long. I also didn't realize that they had different prow designs.
They had the original on the first two, on the prototypes, and then
Yeah.
they changed it around for the production run of 50. And the reason for that was, it wasn't just maintenance concerns, it's because of the shark nose, it would cause a downdraft around the smoke box,
Mhm.
and it would suck down the smoke, and just chuck. It would basically blow smoke into the windows of the cab.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
It's kind of weird and unfortunate. Although I would like a point for having cab signals and train phones.
Did the S1 not have that?
No, it was before them. I
Okay.
think.
Then yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the gigantic antenna. They might have had the cab signals,
Yeah.
but they definitely didn't have the train phones.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's fair game. God,
None of these had that
I'm gonna give you that one.
like a
its cab is so.
anti-flip thing, right?
What'd you
No.
say, Jader?
Okay, didn't the Q2 have like a anti-slip control thing?
None of these had that. That came about on the Q2, and it's pretty much
Alright.
only on the Q2.
Okay, I was gonna say, they didn't back. I just want to make sure they didn't back into the.
No.
No, they
Is
Is
never
that a
bothered.
foam indicator?
Foam indicator?
Yeah.
Man,
I'm just.
I hope
looking
they
at the
install one
it's
on
like,
the
oh my
5550.
God. Yeah, serious. I mean, I'd wager if one of them has it, the other one probably does too. But that's just cool if it does.
I might have a T1 cab picture too. Let me just see.
God, they're cool. I love standard gauge cabs because like there are valves and gauges everywhere. They're not as simple as the narrow gauge things.
Yep, I do. I actually have your I have your cab, Mike.
I would like to see it.
It didn't send. Try that again.
F.
It's a little bit more cramped.
Slightly. Interesting. Interesting. You don't have one.
Really?
You do not.
Well, I guess
You see on the back head of the S1, it's the flux capacitor looking thing.
Whoops, I just wrote a comment on the document. Cancel. I'm gonna need an email for that.
Go.
Flux capacitor looking thing.
On the fireman side?
Done.
Yeah,
No, it's okay. Engineer side water glass. There's the column, there's the glass,
Oh,
the
I
column,
see. Yeah.
and then a thing right next to it. You can just see like a little needle valve between the two tags.
Uh huh.
I believe that's a foam indicator or a foam meter, depending on
It's
where
like
you.
almost behind
Guys,
one of the
loosen
gauges.
you a little bit.
No, above the gauges.
Above the gauges.
But yes, slightly tucked behind it. That little box.
Okay, yeah,
there.
I see it. It almost looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a little switch.
Yes.
Foam indicator. So, what is it? What, aside from the obvious, it indicates foam. What does that mean?
Okay, so steam locomotives, you've heard of priming before or carryover when you get water in the dry pipe and then it goes to the cylinders and that's how you blow cylinder heads off or bad things happen.
Yeah.
So that can be caused by a number of things. Either you have the water too high as you're working the engine too hard, which is sort of a ratio, really. You know, you can have the water really high but not be working the engine, or have the water fairly low, but if you're working it really hard, you're going to be sucking water.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you can do is if the water is foaming, which is caused by really high particulate, it'll actually start sort of bubbling. It reduces the surface tension of the water enough that you get foam. It looks like a bubble bath in the boiler. And if you get that, you will start sucking the foam into the dry pipe, and then it flash condenses back into water, and you can have problems like blowing cylinder heads off. So a foam indicator is something that indirectly measures the particulate in the water and directly basically just lets you visualize the bubbles. It's like a water glass, but a little bit bigger, and it thins the water out like against a plate behind the glass, so you can see the water not for its level, but what is actually in the water.
Interesting.
Yeah. I still just love the triple gauges on the Stoker manifold. That's amazing. The T1 has it too, so it's not a point, but like, yes. There is no kill like overkill, and this is the epitome of that. Also, it annoys me slightly in the T1 cab that whatever that center gauge is, they've put it right behind the gauge light.
Yeah.
Why are you there?
To provide light.
Yeah.
Well, you typically wouldn't be looking at it from back here.
True, but the trouble is when you look at it from the sides, you get parallax.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but-
Which is why on
Just
most
say that,
big engines, the
like, your
gauges are
parallax when you-
facing like straight out, or they're angled towards the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Most modern engines didn't have pressure gauges central above the fire doors like these do. But mad respect for it. I like that. Also, both water glasses have a column. which is something that I don't know that any other railroads did.
Oh, I see it right behind them. That's big.
Yeah. It basically just reduces the amount of splashing that you get because you're connected to a smaller body of water that seeks the same level as the boiler rather than just the boiler itself.
Got it. Yeah,
But,
I will,
usually it's only on the engineer's glass. Or if you're like 91, you have the two glasses, and then the column with the tricox is separate.
This may be the first time we've had two locomotives in Locomotiverses with good quality cab pictures.
I think it is. It's rare that we get to look at cabs.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to the PRR for going crazy with documentation on like everything.
Is this the
It's the condensing.
CDs for the win.
What'd you say,
Look
Jader?
at the condensing. Sorry.
Is this the first time we've had, or we done a look at versus with two engines from the same railroad?
Maybe.
It's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think it. Yeah,
I think
might be.
Might be.
it might be.
Anyway, I don't. Can I come for style points? I mean,
Style point,
I had a much longer
little-
service life.
Yeah, I'd say you get that one.
They're building a new one.
That's also a style point. That's very cool.
I just want to bring that up.
Also true.
You?
How are they doing with that project anyway? It's been a while since I last looked at it.
I can talk about it next section a little bit. I don't have the most recent update. I'm waiting for them to put out another newsletter.
The T1 has handrails leading to the cab steps.
Yeah, lots of handrails.
That's really cool.
Pretty covered
Also,
in handrails.
yeah, to bring it back around to something that's actually usable out of these cab photos, the T1 only has 4 banks of grates to shake down in the morning, while the S1 has 6. Yes, it has a bigger firebox, but that means every morning you've got more firebox to clean.
Yeah.
Oof. So that's an oof for this one.
I would say that the T1, because four grate banks are a lot easier to shake down than 6. That's also easier to keep the linkage from, like, destroying itself. I don't even know how you do a 6-bank linkage.
Very
Be really interesting. Yeah,
Also-
serious.
Holy that's how.
Oh, you know what? Let me just do some. I don't think the S1 had that.
Is that an inclinometer?
I had one. I had one of my class with a booster. I'm not
Okay.
sure if that's worth getting a point for because it was only one.
Yeah.
The S1 didn't have a booster at all.
I think we've given those before. The one-offs,
Yeah.
too.
On the flip side, the S1 was featured at the World's Fair.
That's definitely a point.
Put on rollers and run at the World's Fair.
Make it rain, bro. Make it rain.
That's definitely a point. Ellis, you would know the answer to this one, or you might. In the cab of the T1,
Mm-hmm.
immediately in front of the engineer's seat, I don't think it's the Johnson bar, the thing that looks like it's almost a voltmeter. Like that giant gauge-looking thing. Is that an inclinometer?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
For, like, super elevation? That'd be really neat.
It may be. I would actually have to look at it in trains, because if I recall correctly, the train's cab for this is actually not bad. Although it is this is 6110's cab, and trains has the cab for the production run,
Okay.
so it might be a little bit different. I do know that's not the Johnson bar. The Johnson bar is really small, though. It's
a power reverse?
yeah, it's like, wedged up against
think
the wall,
it's-
and it's really stubby.
Yeah, I think I can see it just at the very,
Yeah.
very far right of the screen.
Yep.
I'd wonder if that's what that is, because I could definitely see the use of it on super elevated curves, but I've never heard of a steam engine equipped with an inclinometer.
It might be. It's
That is
also
really
useful if
neat.
we're rolling over.
Yeah. It just pegs itself, then pegs itself on the other side. That's really cool. Anyway, I'm done foaming over
The
the cabs.
locomotive is capsized, sir.
Yeah. We're listing severely to the fireman's side. Oh gosh. What else? I really don't know Penzi engines that well.
I don't want to keep giving this S1 style points because it's not my engine, because I'm competing against it, but I have to give him the style point for allegedly receiving a speeding fine for 156 miles an hour.
Oh, I thought that was the...
No, that was the S1.
Okay. I'll also give the S1 a technical point for
Just keep
not
shooting
having
them
the air
with
reservoir
bullets
cast
around,
into the
don't you?
frame.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because
Hang on a minute. I got a
Sorry.
point for the T1.
Yeah.
Higher route availability.
Yeah. Actually being able to go over the whole system. That's nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the S1 can only go Crestline to Chicago.
Yeah.
that's fair.
If that isn't enough, the S1 could not be turned on any turntable. Needed
That's
its,
enough for
its own custom roundhouse stall. And
Uh-huh.
turning it around, but this counts in the first thing that I mentioned. Turning it around was apparently an event because it would rarely make it over the Y without derailing. Every single time.
Like
So,
a professional.
like a professional. Professionals have standards.
Yeah, that's fair. Standards? So what's the S1 has an air horn.
Does it? Oh
Wait.
my god, I see it.
It
Does it?
does. Engineer's
Hold
side, right under the bullet nose.
God damn it.
Wait.
How did I use that?
That's kind of
Hold
cool.
Hey, didn't the first
Right under
locomotive
the-
that pulled the Hiawatha back in the day also have an air
It did.
horn as well?
And
I don't
also,
actually.
Haven loved
I was gonna say it didn't have a whistle; it just had the horn.
Did it really?
Why did they equip it with a horn instead of a whistle? I've
Because
never
they're
really figured that out.
weirdos on the
Because
Milwaukee
Milwaukee-
Road.
Higher speed. Higher speed. It's easier to hear a
That doesn't
horn
do
at higher
anything.
speed than a whistle.
I don't think that's true.
I think.
I don't think that's true at all.
That may
That's
have
not
been
how
a-
sound waves work.
That may
I
have
don't
been a
know.
superstition.
That may have been.
I don't know.
I think
They put
personally,
they put a
I
horn
think
on
it's because they were trendy at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. True.
Uh, so what are the three little porthole vents on the pilot of the T1?
Literally for style and nothing else.
Okay, good.
Also, I don't think the S1 had a water scoop. Hence the oddness of the tender.
Yeah, does it have a front coupler?
It should. Yes, it folds away.
Okay, so even
I
though it
also
folds
just
away, they
remember
both
the
fold
porthole.
away. The T1 actually has the cut lever, a place where you can get to it.
Yikes.
Can I just point out that the portholes were on the prototypes and not the production
Yeah,
models for the
that is
T1?
true. The portholes were only the portholes and almost
Oh,
all
yeah, I
the
guess
skirting
they were.
were always on 6110 and 6111. The portholes
Yes,
weren't
it's true.
on the 55 series.
It's amazing how sleek the prototype engines look compared to the production run, which still looks very sleek, but it's almost like a diesel punk sort of.
Yeah.
You know, they're not quite as artsy or elegant. They look very utilitarian,
It looked
but
like
very
they-
mean.
It looked like almost like a Looney Tunes sort of thing where it crashed into a wall, head on it.
Yeah,
full
they
speed,
bumped
and
the
just
nose in a little
boom.
bit.
Yeah,
Crunch.
I
By
like
way,
I like
what's
the look of
5550
both of them.
gonna look like? Is it gonna look? Because I've got two conflicting pictures here
What?
of the plans. Like in the concept art, they have it looking like the prototypes, but down in the like what's completed and what isn't, it looks like the production models.
No, I'm pretty sure it's going to look like the production models. If you look at even the concept or even the drawings on their website, it's
Except for the portholes.
yeah, except for the portholes, it's the 55 series styling.
It still looks like the prototypes
Confused
to me,
boner.
but
Because the prow is
it's
production
it's
series.
kind of a mash of the two.
Which,
yeah.
hey, more power to them. That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, the
I'm sorry, I
streamlining is
still
definitely
heard you on
closer
the
to
podcast.
the prototypes, excepting the prow.
All right. Well, I'm not sure what else. Unless somebody
I'm
has
not really
another
sure
style
what else
point.
either.
That means it's 19 to 17 T1 up.
That's pretty cool. Strength in numbers. The S1 was cool, but at the end of the day, it was mechanically inferior.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be honest. If we had stayed on points for longer, like statistics for longer, I probably would have had the floor mopped with me. Because, let me ask you, Wybald, because you have access to all this stuff.
Okay.
Did I win any out of the power computations, which we did not touch?
No.
I didn't think
No,
so.
you did not. You got really close on Power MT, but no. You also lost. You also would have lost at the cylinders, which is the one that we were both looking at earlier on.
Well, I was thinking about it. You were looking at it.
Yeah, I think everybody else is pretty, or everything else was pretty close. The tenders were a weird flip-flop. You had way higher fuel capacity, whereas he had water out the wazoo.
Yeah. Well, again, it's because
And
I have a
weights.
scoop and he doesn't.
The other one is you probably could have come back a decent bit if we had done more of the weight statistics, like the ratios, the
that's
you
true.
probably
loading.
creaming on the weight stuff.
Yeah, it's so
Also,
heavy,
who
dude.
built the T1s?
Who built them?
Yeah.
I believe it was split between Altoona and Baldwin.
Okay. Because that's another one you could have gotten. The Q1, Q2, and S1s are all three Juniata, whereas the T1 it says several. And if Baldwin was in there, then you would have got that point.
Well, remember, Baldwin was the one elbowing the PR on the side going, don't you guys want a duplex?
It's like, hey,
Because they tried to sell one to the B&O, and the B&O was like, this thing's garbage.
Pino's like you.
They kept it for a while, though. Alright,
They did.
alright, well then let's take votes. Weibel, do you get a vote? Reese and I, we do not. And unfortunately, TBA died.
And Jader, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just kind of quiet.
Okay. Gosh, I'm really conflicted on this one. I like the way that both of them look. They're both so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say the T1 because it is a little bit more unique design, but at the same time, I think I prefer the aesthetics of the S1 a little bit more, particularly the early version with the full Skyline casing, the full ribbing along the front. It just looks so fast. It literally looks like a bullet on wheels.
Wrapped in a... whatever, never mind.
Yeah, a Civil War bullet and an orange and red cape or whatever. So, yeah, I think I'll go with the S1 on that.
Yeah, the S1 looks... I'm not going to lie. The S1 looks awesome. It does.
What
It
if
just looks
we had
so
the T1 with the S1 styling?
That would be
Nuts.
a really great blend, I think.
It would be.
You know what's funny? The taper, and they, I'll go right from this into the T1 Trust because it's a great segue. But the taper for the nose of the T1 is part of the smoke box. It is cast as part of the smoke box. It's not, it's not shrouding or anything. It's part of the engine.
Which I didn't realize ruin your segue a little bit.
That's fine.
The A4s, like Mallard, the streamlined engines.
It isn't like that. Or, well...
It's not like that, but the smoke box is round and then it's smushed. It's sloped down slightly at the front. It's not perfectly round.
Yeah. Because, what, you probably saw the same picture that I did.
Well, the Mallard was going downhill when it said its
Yeah. The
record.
Mallard doesn't deserve the speed record. We know. That's why 5550 is going to go get it.
Yeah.
All right. So do we have okay? We have one vote for the S1, and Jader is the only other person that can vote right now because TBA is dead.
I don't know. See, I like them both.
He rests in peace.
I like them both, but I'm going to vote for the T1 because higher route availability.
Yeah. Actually, being able to use the thing is nice.
Yeah.
And there's a few, or at least a couple good pictures of them in Columbus. So
Yeah, it's kind of like how Anthem would be a good game if you could actually play it and actually get good loot out of it, which you can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a
right.
locomotive. We've been sitting on that one for a while. All right. That means we have two. That means we have two spots open. So anyone that would like to suggest a locomotive versus, feel free to do so in the comments below. The two best I will take and put in our document here. And remember, if you ever get on the Terminus podcast, talking to those in the audience, you get to pick what we do. You literally get to pick.
Woo.
It can be one of the things that we have, or it can be your own. So if you have a good one, save it, even if we don't put it on the list. Whoops! I just deleted the entire table.
Whoops.
Alright, it's back. Alright,
Well,
so...
speaking of wrecking tables, specifically timetables.
Oh, no. PSR?
A story... No, not that. A story from the UK, actually, that's a little bit humorous, if nothing else. There was apparently a steam excursion pulled by the B-1 Mayflower a time ago that caused massive delays at whatever station this was, London Waterloo. Because
Pretty
it
important
arrived...
station.
Yeah, London Waterloo. It ruined, the timetable for hours and hours and hours because it arrived too early due to a signaling error.
What is this, Japan?
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
It's like, is it not only ironic that, the schedule is thrown off completely by a train running too early, which, yes, I understand how that happens, but it's just kind of funny.
The guy in the signal box, though? If
It was.
It's his fault.
But also the fact that the only train that has run early into London Waterloo Station in a very long time is a steam locomotive.
Ooh.
The Southwestern Railway actually had a little bit of a social media battle with a couple of passengers following this incident, in which one passenger wrote, "This marks the 8th consecutive travel day where your services have not got me to Waterloo on time as scheduled. Your service is an abomination." Responding to the tweet, SWR stated that the problem was caused by a train arriving earlier than scheduled, to which another person posted, "First time for everything, I suppose."
Yikes.
Hang on a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, they're not the only people annoyed at trains. Just to get this one out of the way, because it's in my neck of the woods, I probably wouldn't have been bothered to talk about it, except it's the Providence and Worcester. Or, well, actually that picture is the New England Central, but they're kind of sharing power right now because they're both owned by G&W.
By the plague.
Bastards. In Wethersfield, Connecticut, freight trains are rolling again, but not everyone
Guys,
is...
I gotta go feed my dogs real quick. I'll be right back.
Alright, not everyone is a fan of the horns, and, everything else.
Right.
Jen Downey insists she's not against the trains. However, it keeps waking her kids up when they're getting ready for bed.
That's a key little but there.
Yeah, but. And then, yeah, it's just a lot of people that are minorly annoyed because, well, there hasn't been a train there in 10 years, and suddenly it's back, and it's just coming around at 10 miles an hour about twice a day, just sputtering along. And
I mean, what time of day does it go by at?
Apparently like 7 o'clock p.m.
It's not
That makes
bad.
sense what she's complaining about.
It's not bad, but that's her, that's when she's trying to put her kids to their nap time or whatever.
I guess. I don't know.
Again, they're not like up in arms about it. They, quote, "I'm not against the train." But they're unhappy that they don't have a schedule that they can reference, like so they'll know when the train's coming.
That's fair.
And they also, it sounds like they're trying to get the attention of the railroad just so that they can ask them to run at a slightly different time. Which, I mean, it's a little bit much sometimes to say, hey, can you guys not run, not do the thing that you're supposed to do until this time that we've dictated? But at the same time, I think it's at least the civil thing to reach out and say, could you guys change or provide information or whatever,
That's the one that I was going to say, is that at least they could provide a schedule or a rough idea of like, okay, here's when the trains run, plan around this accordingly.
Yeah. And,
Rather than
what
just
else are you
big
gonna do?
dicking it, being like, we're here now! Right.
A lot of people might not even live in the same place for 10 years when they moved in. A lot of people will say, like, the train's there first. You moved here.
Right.
The train hasn't been there for 10 years. I'll bet you a lot of these people, and I bet the kids are under 10, I bet a lot of these people...
If they're going to bed at 7, I hope so.
haven't lived here for 10 years, maybe. And they may not have ever known, the realtor might not have known, the railroad might not have known that these rails were going to be reactivated again. This is the far north end of what Essex owns. It's just past the north end of that. So,
okay.
Yeah. And so they have a couple of active shippers that have just come online. That track was also out of service for a very long time because there was a lot of road construction going on in downtown Middletown. And the tracks were right in the midst of that. And so I have so many pictures and memories of just driving by there. I have pictures from Google Earth and whatever of just like, oh, there's the track. Oh, there's a giant pile of dirt. Oh, there's where they tore it up so that they could put a pipe underneath it. And it was like that for years. I thought the track was going to be out of service forever. I thought it was gone. But, you know.
So did the residents.
Yeah, so did everybody else. But, you know, oh well. I would like to see... If they're coming through that regularly, though, now I want to go up there. I need to pay them a visit. I want to see more freight trains.
You just got to make sure to not go during nap time.
Yeah. Or maybe... Or I need to go during nap time so that I actually catch a train.
That's true.
What is nap time?
What is nap time? It's the thing that we had and we wish we still had.
Right about now, actually.
Yeah.
Could we just have adult nap time,
Adult
please?
nap time, yeah. It's called
Like the whistle.
lunch at work.
The whistle blows. Well, because they, you know, all companies have, at least out here, have to provide the workers with like an hour lunch break.
Yep.
So we get, or at least at my work, I shouldn't say all jobs. I haven't worked them. At my work anyway, we get an hour lunch break because we're mandated to.
Mm-hmm.
And lunch takes about 15 minutes, and then we all get back on the job because it's sort of just a casual scheduling approach.
Yeah, because you're working.
I half wish it was like, okay, take 15 minutes for lunch, and then take 45 minutes of a quick little nap, and then get back to work.
I'll take it later.
I mean, you probably could, because you're given.
I'm sure I could. I've slept in that roundhouse plenty of times before, but
And
not
another
typically in the middle of the day.
Well, I feel like it'd be maybe a little bit difficult to sleep in the roundhouse while there's, you know.
You would be surprised.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the place where it's easiest to fall asleep I've found at the museum is in the doghouse while the engine is running.
Really?
No, it makes sense. Like
Like,
it's kind of rocks
during-
you to sleep.
It does. During Thomas in particular, you've had a really long day. It's sort of a warm afternoon. It's shady in the doghouse, but it's warm. And you've got this nice padded seat, and there's just sort of the rocking motion of the tender. Slowly lulls you to sleep. It's quite nice.
Okay. Well, excuse me. I'm going to take a little
Crazy, I swear.
nap now.
Yeah.
That's debatable.
Anyway. I don't think I can segue from nap time to anything, but Jader can talk about children.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I like children. Don't clip that.
Right.
Please don't ever do that
Please
again.
do. Put it on a soundboard.
A Terminus sound.
All right, Jader, what's up?
Okay. So the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad, we're all familiar with that.
Scrubs.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of their cars, so they're taking one of their cars and converting it into a rolling children's museum.
Will it have a water table? That was my favorite part of my children's museum.
On a train that may be difficult.
Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Work began last year for. Oh shit! Here we go again.
Okay, go on.
Okay, let's see. Okay, work began last year for its transformation into a edutainment car, like education
Wow.
or edu.
I would give them a point if I could.
Yeah.
Jesus, Wild.
Okay, so let's see. So it's going to have interactive railroad-related exhibits, programming and activities geared for kids. Nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go check this out. Let's see. Okay, it's part of a ambitious $5 million Powering Ahead campaign that includes the renovation and preservation of the railroad's fleet and the California Zephyr cars that they just got.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? Some nice cars. Well,
Oh wait, is this the other? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this children's museum car is all part of another. Like they have a children's museum car and then another car that they're working on, and they're all under the same campaign here, this Powering Ahead campaign.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah, and then they're also getting. Per one of my buddies that volunteers up there, they're working on getting. It says here, but they're working on getting one of their RDCs back up in service.
Well, good luck to them.
So yeah.
Every time I see a railroad museum with an RDC working, I'm like, wow, good job! Like, congratulations. You've had it for how many weeks and it hasn't broken? Sorry, my
Yeah.
knowledge of RDCs is tainted by the Boston and me.
Yeah, I
We
need
ran
to
them
get
to
up
pieces,
there
they
and
all
just
broke, so
check
we
the
started
switch.
using them as passenger cars. Anyway,
I mean, that's what we did with our Doodlebug when it quit working.
yep. Anyway, if we want to talk about museums, the Franklin Institute has been given a $6 million grant for that renovation of the train room that we talked about a couple weeks ago. And there's also a really cool picture here of them moving 60,000 into the museum. Boy, that was really something. But yeah, so they're getting they're turning it into a 2-story gallery, including Benjamin Franklin's glass harmonica, which I don't know what that is. Early film projector, airfoil models made by the Wright brothers.
Glass bowls.
Lantern slides of Marie Curie's work with radium, and among other things. These are things that they've had for ages and never put on display. So, it's the largest gift ever awarded by the Trust, which has a long history of generosity. Which is, this is the Hamilton Family Charitable Trust that gave it. Which they included. They were the one that same family that donated 60,000 in the first place. The Hamilton family is descendants of the Vauclain family, who was then the president. Samuel Vauclain was then the president of the Baldwin Locomotive Works, who, like I said, donated the 60,000 to the museum in the first place. So now they're donating the money to make the space that the 60,000 is in a hell of a lot cooler. You can see more about that on our last Terminus. We even had an article that showed what the area is going to look like when it's completed, which is really cool. It looks really cool. For areas that are already completed, you can turn to Springfield, Massachusetts, where Amtrak has finally returned to the concourse, and is preparing to open a new platform. What is that noise? Preparing to open a new platform within the next month, apparently. They've got a lot more trains coming into Springfield on the regular now. Thanks to the Hartford line, which we've talked about, and its connecting Metro North service. Amtrak is still running its shuttle trains as well as the Vermonter, and now they have a brand new ticket window, a brand new luggage drop-off, and a really nice looking space on the interior of the station, which is nice because the station was kind of getting a little rough. A little rough around the edges. There were like trees growing on the platforms and that sort of thing. So, at the same time, they're completing Platform C, which is a new high-level platform, which I believe is a first for Springfield. And they're going to be starting a new service, which is going to be running from Springfield to Holyoke, Northampton, and Greenfield. It's along the same route as the Vermonter, I believe, but it's going to be
Huge.
an extension of the shuttle. So it's going to be running at a more than once a day schedule. So that's
always good.
Yeah, the station served just shy of 10,000 riders last year, which is up almost 10,000 from the previous year. Sorry, did I say 10,000 twice?
Yes.
Okay, they served almost 100,000 riders last year.
Okay.
It's up over 10,000 from 2017.
Gotcha. I was going to say, it served 10,000 people. That's actually pretty pathetic.
No. It's
for a giant station.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's served just shy of 100,000 people. It's up over 10,000 from what they served last year, or well, 2 years ago.
That's really good.
It's a huge jump, yeah. And between that and the extension of MBTA service out west, quote unquote, in Massachusetts, as well as the proposal to run MBTA service on the old B&M or the Fitchburg line, like continuing out west as well. They're in the midst of making a very, very robust and tight network of trains. Also, the station already has a convenience store, a Subway, and a Dunkin' Donuts, so it's basically fine. It's basically done.
Donkeys.
Well equipped.
Yeah, they are incredibly well equipped because of the Dunkin' Donuts. The MBTA has unveiled their capital plan for the coming year or so. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years. Let me finish loading this article and see. But I believe it's something on the order of $18 billion. Yeah. So, yeah, it is a 5-year. The board has voted to approve the 5-year, $18.3 billion capital plan for fiscal years 2020 through 2024. It's about an increase of $1 billion over the last 5-year capital improvement plan, which is awesome for the reasons of a lot of the MBTA's money has been tied up in replacing their fleet, not the PCC cars, because they can't decide on what they want to do with them still. But the red line and the orange line, which have a certain proclivity to catching on fire, have gotten, or are in the midst of getting new train sets, and that's where most of the money has gone. So, hopefully, now that that's getting completed, the MBTA will be able to focus a lot of their money on maintenance. Deferred maintenance things they've needed to do, including hopefully getting some more double-decker coaches, as well as the replacements of the rebuilds of the F-40s they're in the middle of. So, it does include $1.5 billion for red and orange line improvements, which is expanding and replacing the red and orange line fleets. The investments are expected to allow 3-minute headways on the red line and 4.5-minute headways on the orange line. That's really good, because the last headways were 8 minutes. So the trains were 8 minutes apart. Now they're going to be 3 to 4 minutes apart. Total cost of the improvements is $2.8 billion. Also, there's about $750,000 for 252 red and 152 orange line vehicles. Basically, a complete replacement of both fleets. About $500 million for infrastructure and maintenance facilities for those new vehicles. Another $250 to upgrade all signals on the entire system. And another $875 million for capital investments on the red line, like the approach to the Longfellow Bridge, funding for the Mattapan high-speed line transformation. That's going to be infrastructure to modernize the line, presumably so that they can replace the PCC cars with heavier, larger, more modern light rail
Think your
vehicles.
PCC.
What?
Sad face.
Yeah, I mean sad face, but you've got 10 years before that happens. Come visit them.
Yeah.
They're
I'd
getting a
love
little...
to.
It makes me sad, but they are getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Another $640 million for the red line included bridges, tracks, signal stations, accessibility improvements, wayfinding, and $1.36 billion for the green line extension, which is a 4.7-mile extension of the light rail line, which will go from the end, which is in Leechmere, all the way out to some of the more northern suburbs of Boston. So yeah, it's there's a whole list of stuff, and I would love to go through it because it makes me excited because it's not quite my city, but it's basically my city, including. Another thing worth mentioning, $171 million to complete the installation of PTC across all commuter rail lines. And, let's see, is there anything for Stoughton Electric? I don't think so. That makes me sad. Oh yeah, $1 billion for the South Coast Rail project. That's what I want to see. So, I'm super invested in this. I can't wait to see more of it come to fruition. And there's a couple more little MBTA things that we can talk about. One of these is they're looking for a third party to get in on this, to look at this derailment that happened. There was a red line derailment. I'm not sure it was...
Is that the one from just a few days ago?
Yeah, it wasn't, terrible. But it was a red line train car headed south into the JFK UMass station, derailed after 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Quote, significant damage, so they need to remove the derailed train, and there were 2 minor injuries, and it was, the problem is, not too many days beforehand, there was a train derailment in the tunnel, which we talked about. That was actually on the podcast. That happened during the podcast, and we had the articles, or the Reddit posts that I found about it. or what happened like the day of or something. But they're worried that it's a systemic issue, and they want a third party to come in and look at the system and go, tell them if they're doing anything really wrong.
Right.
Now, following that is an article from the Pregnant Commuter, which is not an actual thing, it's just somebody who is pregnant is writing about this. Maggie Kent, who is 9 months pregnant, and her husband Gordon take the Amtrak Downeaster from Haverhill every day, and find it challenging to get seats. It shouldn't be a challenge on the Downeaster.
Shouldn't be a challenge anywhere for a pregnant woman to get a seat.
But
Good
it also
Lord.
shouldn't be a challenge on an Amtrak train, because the seats are, you buy one ticket for one seat. There's not going to be, it's not going to be standing room only. Maggots are lined. It is very difficult. It's challenging on the body. Blah blah blah. I really thought this was going to be about. They pay $640 for the monthly passes. No guarantee of a seat. If you're taking the Downeaster, then you don't. I don't think they're taking the Downeaster. I don't think they are. I think this is a miss thing, but it doesn't make. No, okay. I guess it is. Why is that the case? Some of these trains are very crowded, seats are limited. Okay, maybe they run the Downeaster differently. Yeah, so they're apparently looking at. They would like to see Amtrak add another car to address the demand on the Downeaster, which would be nice. Apparently, that's it. Specifically, monthly passes don't come with a seat. I didn't know Amtrak did monthly passes for anything, but I guess in this situation they would. Because they're basically running a slightly longer distance commuter service. I thought it had to do with the MBTA, because, man, it's really standing room only on like, Providence-Stoughton line trains. When I go in, if I get a seat at Providence, I just have to stay in it. I don't ever have trouble getting a seat. I have trouble getting a seat by myself in Providence, but by the time we get a few stations up the line, it's pretty much standing room only. And coming back, no way. No way. It's standing room only from the very beginning, from the moment I get on. So, that's something to look at too, but yeah, Weibold is right. There shouldn't be a problem with a pregnant woman getting a seat on a train. Come on, stand up. Let the lady sit down. Be good people.
Be good people.
Be good people.
We
We have any good people?
We do have a good person, a good man, who unfortunately has passed. Craig R. Lefever, sorry. The image behind his name made it look a little bit like an N, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The president of Strasbourg that superseded Lynn Moedinger last winter, which we talked about at the time, unfortunately passed away a couple weeks ago, June 16th.
It was Lucy.
Yeah.
It was her.
I don't know how he passed, why he passed, what the circumstances of it were. He was only 52 years old, though, so unfortunate that he has left us so soon, and unfortunate for Strasbourg that there's now that management gap there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the work that was done on Lucy. I know how he died. He was cursed. It's simple as that.
I suppose so. Cursed. Speak of cursed.
Oh God!
Simply because we have this article, and I might as well go through it now, because it's kind of a update thing. This is an article from Trains Magazine on a report from Colorado. Narrow-gauge the Zephyr, a new museum, and a visit to two favorites. Basically, a guy that I actually had a chance to talk with him briefly when he was out here, pinging around Colorado, visiting the various sites. So I'll just go through the article and give little updates on all the different things. First and foremost, Colorado Road Museum 20 came back a couple weeks ago. We covered that in depth. Work is progressing on the engine, albeit at a snail's pace, but that can't really be helped. The Moffett Road Railroad Museum, which we have talked about briefly before. It's where the crane went from Burnham in Granby.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
The Museum of the Killdozer.
Yes. I wish we had been able to see that.
Yeah, he got up there briefly to see the wrecker. It apparently has blossomed into a little fledgling museum.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they have there besides, I think, a heavyweight coach, a little depot building with some O-scale stuff in it, and the crane. I personally need to get up there at some point. But said it was a really cool place. Looks forward to returning. There's nothing real new with the Zephyr. News from the Loop is that Shane 9 is leaving and going back to Iowa. Number
That's
12.
a mistake.
Number 12. It really isn't. Number 12, the Whaleback 262, has returned to Silver Plume and will be taking 9's place for the foreseeable future. And I think that's really it talks about in the article, but I've got the other update from further down south in the state on 168.
Yay.
Lots of things happening. They put lagging on.
Yay.
And it's interesting to see an engine with a tapered course that they did in calcium silicate lagging that was done properly.
Ooh. Hey.
Jab, 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 jab.
Don't disrespect the dead man.
Not disrespecting the dead man. Disrespecting where he worked. Also says the man who I know how he died, he was cursed.
Listen, facts are facts.
Pigs is pigs, of course. Also, in case we didn't mention it, Rotary OY took the trek from Chama to Antonito a couple weeks ago. Barely squeezed through the tunnels. If that's something interesting to you, look it up on the Narrow Gauge forum. It will be receiving some boiler work before it sees service.
Yes!
Ow!
Sorry.
Not that. I think
Oh,
Reese's mic is completely
echoing.
broken.
It's echoing disasterdly through.
Oh, I am on
Mic
my
machine
phone,
broke.
So yeah.
Yeah, well. I want to go see the Rotary. I want to see it.
I do too. Apparently there's a wait list for the charter, which I did not know.
I wouldn't go on the
But,
charter. Just frick. What are they going to do?
well, nothing, but you don't want to be the dick that's just like watching from the sidelines. Like, go on the charter.
Yeah, well, if I can't get on it,
Well, that's also fair. But I
If you
think
can't get on the charter, at least, like...
the other
send them-
possibility
send
is
them
if
a donation.
you mentioned earlier wanting to come out here and see it, it's possible I may be able to pull a couple of strings.
okay. Well, I mean, if you can,
I'll have to see.
say so.
I'll have to see if my strings aren't already being pulled down there, because I don't have near as much. I don't have near as many strings on the cats to pull as I do on the DNS, but we'll see.
Well, maybe you can pull someone who can pull some strings.
Well,
Not what I meant, but
wait a
that's
sec.
always an option.
Sort of to that.
That's like 16 strings.
You load
What do you got?
16 string. Yeah.
that's a lot of dick to chug.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jader?
I was going to say, sort of to that, if we go out to the cats, can we go to the DNS since we'll be somewhat in the area?
for the cat's meow,
Not impossible. I wouldn't want to...
that's very possible, actually.
And not
Yes.
impossible. I'm not sure if I would want to stretch it, because I wouldn't want to go nuts with this trip, because it's supposed to be an off year, and we're not,
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know, just something to keep in mind. Though.
Yeah. No,
it is something to keep in mind. It's not even 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically 2 hours away.
Oh, it's
So it's-
close
Then
enough
again,
that...
if
It's close enough that when I was a wee lad, many years before I met Wybold, my dad and I were staying in Durango, and we did a day trip to ride the cats from Durango.
Yeah.
It was not easy, but we did it.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Anyway, so I want to talk to you guys for a minute about Brightline.
Oh no.
Brightline
Oh, boy.
versus everyone. Brightline versus the world. Brightline versus Florida Man. Brightline versus this random SUV, which, the train formerly known as Brightline, the artist formerly known as Prince, crashed into an SUV and effing obliterated the back half of it. I don't know. The driver was okay, so that's an improvement for Brightline. An even better improvement is just this past week or so. Somebody, I don't know how they got this far down the track, but they did. And the train happened to notice them and actually stopped in time. And did not
Wow.
absolutely murder the person that somehow managed to drive several hundred feet, by the looks of it at least, down the railroad tracks.
What idiot?
I don't know how you managed that!
I would finish saying what idiot decided it was a good idea to drive that far down the railroad track, but at the same time, it probably saved his life that he got that far away from it rather than just being on the crossing.
I think he was driving towards it.
Oh, well, then never mind. Sir, you're a moron.
I think he was driving towards it.
What exactly was he smoking, and where can I get some? You know,
Florida is where you can get some. God knows what he was smoking.
Florida, he's probably
because
smoking like
Florida
crystallized
man,
bleach or something.
Jesus Christ, Florida man. So apparently somebody was upset enough at Brightline and decided to get revenge.
No.
Because
Oh,
a
boy,
man
here
was
we
taken
go.
to Aventura Hospital as a trauma alert patient after hitting a Brightline train. He was not hit by the train, he hit the train.
Florida man fight.
How do you
Florida Man
hit
Strikes
a
Back.
train apart from?
With his body. He
I thought
He
like
got
a
angry
train
at it.
meant, like,
No,
he was,
not
like,
with his
trying to
car.
drive
Not with his
car
car.
like kamikaze, like or something like that.
No. He
That would be like a whole one.
he walked to the side. He walked into the side and bounced off.
Punk.
So Brightline is really good at getting really bad press, and it's showing because, well, the entire community, or many communities, are turning against them. The
Well, yeah.
Indian River Neighborhood Association has joined the lawsuit against Virgin Trains, has joined the county in their lawsuit against Virgin Trains. Virgin Trains, allegedly, fails to follow the National Environmental Policy Act in public safety and noise levels. So, they're just saying they're just too dangerous. They've spent over they've spent over $3 million trying to block the expansion of Virgin Trains from West Palm Beach to Orlando, and they wanted, Brightline wanted to have it done by 2021, but it really doesn't look like that's going to happen because they keep running into all these NIMBYs. So
That's the reason that nothing happens anymore.
yeah. So if you want to read about the great saga of
When
Brightline,
it's done, it's probably going to be like 10,000 years in the future. There'll be like a SpongeBob style time card with a French narrator, like 10,000 years later.
yep, they've arrived at Disney World, and that's it. They're still going to make bank because it's Brightline. It's a train from Miami to Orlando.
Yep.
That is what it is.
That's not just Disney World; it's also Universal and SeaWorld.
Yeah, but nobody cares. It's Disney.
But Disney.
Yeah. They're literally having a
Yeah.
stop at Disney.
Disney World.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Which I think would make Walt just smile.
Yeah.
He's like about damn.
He's like,
time.
I like trains.
I like trains.
But yeah, so I'm going to put all these Brightline things in the cargoes. You can read the saga of Brightline. It's just the continuing saga at this point because it never stops.
No.
We didn't hear anything from them for a while, and then I'm not surprised to hear that someone has instead hit Brightline. And also that they somehow averted yet another death. Technically,
They're getting better.
Technically, they averted two.
They're going from hitting people to being hit by people.
Yeah.
They're getting
That's
better.
different,
They're learning.
right?
They're learning.
I'm learning.
I'm learning. I'm in danger. People near Brightline.
Yeah, that's what the entire county thinks, apparently. But hey, I think they're gonna be okay. Someday they're gonna be okay. I'd like to talk about another random railroad that we don't get to highlight very often, but that I'd love to go on about. It's basically my Tennessee Pass, even though it's even farther away from me than Tennessee Pass, and I do also love Tennessee Pass. They're doing a tourist trip, or a tren turistico, over part of the over the desert line, the Baja California Railroad. Not the whole thing, just as far as they can get, I believe. But the Baja California Railroad has partnered with the Pacific Southwest Railway Museum Association. And yeah, In celebration of the SDNA's 100th birthday, they are doing a bi-national event where you'll be able to ride the train from Southern California, through Tijuana and down a good portion of the desert line. So that's honestly kind of awesome. It's only $50 too. Yeah, no, I love this railroad. It's got one of the largest wooden trestles in the world, too.
That's the goats, whatever it is.
The goat trestle or whatever it's called. That's not, unfortunately...
It's got goat in the name.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they won't be able to get there, because I believe there are some other maintenance concerns, but also I'm pretty sure there are some tunnel collapses. So restoration
Goat Canyon Trestle.
Thank you. Restoration of the desert line is going to be a pain in the neck in the first place, and I really wish the Baja California Railroad luck in doing that. But what?
Nothing. Finish up.
Okay.
I'll say it in a minute.
Okay. So, yeah, I really wish them luck in doing that, but it could make the situation in Southern California in terms of competition pretty interesting.
Define interesting.
Well, there's a third player.
Competitive.
Yeah. Also, BNSF has been working real hard down there, and they're opening a fourth mainline track in Needles. I mean, they have just opened it. We talked about them building it. Now it's open. So, go BNSF, get that Broadway.
So I was laughing about, there's a picture of the Goat Canyon Trestle here with a keep off no trespassing bridge unsafe sign at the end of it.
Yeah.
And below it they have a thing that says railroad property no trespassing prohibido El Paso or whatever. And I misread it at first as railroad property no trespasso.
No trespasso.
No trespasso, because that's what no trespassing is. Or sorry, it'd be no trespasso.
No trespasso.
No trespasso. Sí, trespasso.
Yeah.
No, you gotta say it like Lopez from Red vs. Blue, like in a monotone robot voice. No trespasso, senor. I love Lopez.
Okay. There are a few other things that are mainly Amtrak things, but one MTA thing. So, the Metropolitan Transit Authority, that's New York City, the new Inspector General has asserted that she is independent from Cuomo, who is the governor. And the reason she's doing that is because people tend to not like his influence on the MTA. So, I really hope that's true, and I hope that she can do some good work and help make the MTA better. I don't know. She's also kind of cute, so that helps.
Cool.
I take a second to talk about the fact that there's a train station for sale in Phoenix.
You can absolutely talk about that.
Yeah, well, apparently in Phoenix there is the old Union Station is up for sale now. They haven't put up a listing for the price yet, but they have said it is for sale, and they're going to be posting it soon. It's kind of in disrepair, but they have priced it that by 2020 it's going to be worth about $4.3 million.
Jeez.
And literally anybody could buy it, pretty much.
Well, anyone with $4.3 million.
Yeah.
$4.3 million. Yeah, I could just picture some eccentric billionaire coming in and turning it into like a dive bar for foamers or something.
I can picture somebody demolishing it.
I could too.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Because according to the article from the Phoenix New Times, Sprint uses the station as a switch center.
Oh, of course they do.
They use one of the property's 2 communication towers, and it leases the other to the Union Pacific Railroad, and that agreement apparently is going to end by March of 2023. Mm-hmm. And the station is about 100 years old, still standing by this point, which is pretty impressive.
Well, it's not like the weather is too hard to deal with down there.
Yeah.
It's not like you have,
You wouldn't, looking at the picture on the article, I wouldn't assume that this was a 100-year-old building,
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
The only bad weather out there is hot. So
Yeah, it's just hot, yeah. But even then, I think that the heat would cause the concrete to crack in some places, because of the expansion of materials and all that.
I guess.
Eh.
The issue is that it's a station in the middle of nowhere with no active rail. Amtrak doesn't serve it because of an abandonment of part of some subdivision. So now they have to go through Maricopa instead of through Phoenix, which is awful, honestly. Sucks. Because...
Sucks.
It does, because it's like 40 miles from Phoenix instead of just going through Phoenix. There's a...
Yeah, it's really, really, really close to downtown Phoenix, the old Union Station.
Yeah, the station would be really good to use, but Amtrak would also have to take over a pretty hefty portion of rail in order to do it. If somebody does buy the station with the intent of coaxing Amtrak back to it, they're going to have a hell of a time.
Yeah. Of course, there's always the option of turning it into a dive bar for foamers.
Well, if you're going to do that,
As you
start
said.
saving now. Other thing you can do, although actually no, this is slightly different. Actually, there really isn't much to say here. The Iron Horse Society, which is the group that
I feel gypped.
yeah, the Iron Horse Society, who were, I believe, the guys that did the Rambles back in the day.
Oh, is that Roland's thing?
No,
No.
Maybe not anymore.
I don't think so.
Hang on, I've got his business card.
It says this. It literally says only this. We'd say more, but we don't want to ramble. Stay tuned. And then a picture of something with 2124 engraved on it.
Them Ramblers are up to something.
Thought I was born a rambling
So,
man.
I don't know. I wanted to share this because I wanted to share it. I don't know what the hell they're on about, but something. They're doing something.
They're up to no good.
Them chickens are up to something.
Chickens. Thank
In
you.
other news, we have a very major don't be stupid moment when a guy apparently who works for CSX got shocked by 3,000 volts after falling asleep in an electrical compartment.
Yeah, see,
Oh,
there
ouch.
are times and places for nap time, and that wasn't one of them.
No.
Yeah. It's a very major don't be stupid moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even a. Well, yeah, that is.
Don't fall asleep in an electrical cabinet. That's,
Don't be stupid.
Somewhere in
stupid,
Ocean,
right.
man, will just burst into flames.
Yep,
What is he thinking?
it happens.
Seriously.
It
How many
happens.
amps?
We're done. Well, not enough to kill him, because apparently I don't think he's dead.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
he's okay. He's just got severe burns to his arms and his face.
Yeah, okay. That's what I call okay.
I'm picturing Palpatine.
I was picturing Two-Face, but
Can Harvey be trusted?
can I be trusted?
be trusted?
Once it burned him more than just Two-Face, he'd end up being like
No
Three-Face
face.
or Four-Face.
Face off.
About face.
Delete
Face
face.
off.
Delete face.
Without face. Forward march.
Yeah.
But anyways, they haven't released his name yet, and he's okay. He's doing all right so far, but they haven't released his name or any details of like how bad his condition is, how good his condition is, whether or not he's going to be released anytime soon. So,
He's not dead
just have to
yet.
wait and see what happens.
Is that like a glass half full, half empty thing? How bad his condition is versus how good his condition? I don't think his condition's particularly good.
Yeah. Well, it could go either way.
Well, he's not dead yet.
The city's at a tipping point. It could go either way.
I'd simply snap my
Yeah.
fingers and they'd all just go away.
CSX, more CSX news.
This is good
CSX
news.
donated 2 boxcars to help out with the project of restoring number 576, the locomotive, not the YouTube channel. They're going to be using them to store tools, parts, and equipment for the restoration. Because,
Cool.
they just don't want to leave all that stuff lying around, obviously. And,
Also, with CSX and donating boxcars, they also donated 4 boxcars. I'm going to assume from like the same yard or something. Anyway, they donated 4 boxcars to Kentucky Steam.
You have a link for that?
Cool.
Let me see if I can find one.
I think they're just trying to offload boxcars at this point. Here you go. You get a boxcar. You get a boxcar.
You get a boxcar.
Everybody gets a boxcar.
Hey, man.
Let's
I'd
see.
like
Should be on the-
Charity-
A party place for frat parties.
Charity that is selfishly motivated from railroads is the best kind of charity because
still
there's
charity.
always a catch.
It's still charity.
It's still charity. It's always great because there's always going to be a catch. It's wonderful when you know what that catch is.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on their Facebook page.
Okay, I'll just...
Also, Kentucky Steam will be hosting the Ravenna Railroad Festival Saturday, September 14th at 10 a.m. I don't entirely know what it is, but
a
a few of my
railroad
buddies
festival.
down there shared it. I'm not sure to go down there. I don't know.
cool.
I have a reason to go down to Kentucky now, so
Kentucky. Get some
But,
fried
looks
chicken.
like-
Man, the fried chicken thing would have been a great segue to the CSX guy, but, I just feel like,
Okay.
maybe
moving
slightly
from
in
one
poor
big
taste.
railroad to another, we've got obviously number quad 1, the Union Pacific Employee Pride locomotive.
Oh God.
timing 100.
It doesn't look half
I
bad.
know the motive it's kind of a gimmick, I know, but you have to admit the paint job looks really, really cool.
It does. I think it's the
It
best
does.
special paint engine they've made in a while.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's in really poor taste.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, they did cut through jobs right before they built this thing, but you have to admit the paint does look great.
Yeah.
Lost the money. People lost their
Ironic.
jobs, but hey, this paint looks good.
Ironic.
Ironic,
and,
isn't it?
In other Union Pacific news, they just put out the schedule for the Big Boys Next tour into the Midwest, which is kind of my neck of the woods. It's going to be going as far as Chicago. They're going to start off in Cheyenne. They're going to go through North Platte. They're going to go through Omaha, Council Bluffs. They're going to go to Des Moines, home of Slipknot and Stone Sour, 2 of my favorite bands.
Really?
Then it's going to go to Chicago. Then it's going to go to Altoona. This is in no particular order that I'm listing these, by the way.
Not
they're gonna
Altoona,
go-
not Altoona, Pennsylvania. Not Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Nope.
No, they're going to
Clarification.
Altoona, Wisconsin. Yeah, not Altoona, Pennsylvania.
That's an important clarification to
They're
make.
going to go to St. Paul, Minnesota, and from the looks of things, it's basically just going to be. It looks a bit like the Big Dipper almost. The route they're doing from in the picture, except more like a net, I guess, as opposed to a big spoon.
My spoon is too big.
A spoon. Did what in this cup?
Well, that means lots of people are going to be able to see it.
Yep.
There's also a really great article on Popular Mechanics about the big boy and why it's such a big deal. So I just posted that. It's in the cargoes as well.
Actually, I put this on big.
Big.
That is a lot of locomotive.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
I was
thick.
actually talking with a guy at the museum about the big boy today. He's planning to go out to Chicago to see it.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's going to get mobbed in Chicago.
It's going to be insane. If it doesn't get mobbed by foamers, it'll get mobbed by the mob.
It's going to be like
Come on.
you guys described.
Papa BP.
You guys described the Spike 150 as like Foamer Woodstock or Foamer Burning Man. If it's in Chicago, it's going to be like Foamer Lollapalooza.
I have no idea what that is.
It's
Uh,
It's
You don't know
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza?
you don't
Nope.
want to. I don't know what it is actually, but you don't really.
It's
It's a
just a-
music
it's-
festival.
yeah, it's a
It
festival.
toured in the 90s. It was organized by the lead singer of Jane's Addiction. But now it's just a single festival in Chicago.
yeah, it's a music festival.
Okay.
It used to be about like alternative music, but now it's just mainstream pop.
Ew.
I know, you.
If we're talking about that area of the country, though, Jesus
Ow.
Christ, somebody needs to cut their mic when they're not talking.
Like,
and I think it's Reese.
serious.
Wisconsin lawmakers have okayed funds for more Hiawathas. More! 3 more round trips a day to a total of
Nice.
10
That's
round
with
trips.
an MOAR, right? Whoa!
I couldn't understand a single word of that because your microphone is
Nope.
absolutely going crazy.
I'm doing this on my phone, so it shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah. Wisconsin Legislature's budget committee, $35 million proposed expansion of Amtrak service between Milwaukee and Chicago. 10 round trips a day. That's pretty hefty. That's a lot of trips.
Hefty.
The thing is, like, I assume that they have the equipment for that then, because that's a lot of equipment to use all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The committee did not approve an additional $10 million, which was proposed to complete the final design and construction of a second daily intercity passenger rail service between Milwaukee and Minneapolis-St. Paul. So, yeah. Quote, whether the proposed Twin Cities Milwaukee-Chicago service, quote, stands a chance will depend on how much resistance Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers put up to the state budget proposals, because apparently it's not in the budget, or it isn't in the budget yet, or something. You know,
Okay.
the budget has not been proposed, but it's doubtful that the budget proposed will include this. Will include a extended Hiawatha, or a second service, or whatever they're calling it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll probably keep tabs on that. I just want to see more Amtrak. And I don't even get to see that Amtrak. I'm like Graham, but in spirit. Speaking of which, though, there has been a grant won by the Gulf Coast Rail organization. So Amtrak and CSX are now going to be negotiating some route improvements, but working towards, with the money granted, a New Orleans to Mobile, Alabama extension, basically an extension of the Sunset Limited, but not really. It's going to be its own service, but it's going to be running over the same, over the same set of tracks that was previously over.
Cool.
So I'm really happy to see this come back. Sort of like with the podcast question this week, it's centered around the Sunset Limited. I had done a report on the Sunset Limited for one of my college classes, and talking about all the fits and starts of the attempts to redo this service after it had been destroyed by Hurricane Katrina, etc. It's really kind of disheartening to watch it like, yeah, we're going to have to do it, and then it doesn't happen. But we're going to have to do it, and then it doesn't happen. Even, George Bush, President of the United States at the time, was like, you've got 9 months to get this thing. It never happened. It's been how long? It's been over a decade. It's been 14
It's been two
years.
presidents?
It's been 14 years since Katrina. It's been over a decade since that was.
God, has it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel old now.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So, yeah, there was a 2017 FRA report that estimated about $118 million for infrastructure improvements that needed to happen before they could restore the full all the way to Orlando connection, or at least to Jacksonville. And a CSX consultant had responded with, no, it'll actually cost $2 billion. And the current $66 million value estimate of restoring that service is, quote, derived by stripping out elements east of the Mobile station, which include a long stretch of unsignaled dark territory.
Dark territory.
So, again, a lot of people want this. Most of the towns and cities along the route are very much for it. They had a train that ran along the route to sort of show off, like, hey, come out and show your support, and it got some pretty hefty support. This was a couple of years ago.
Was that the y'all aboard?
That was not specifically y'all aboard, but it was in the area. I don't think it was specifically y'all aboard.
Damn it.
But this is Gulf Coast Rail, is their shtick. But
Huh.
it's just it should happen. Basically, everybody's on board. They've pledged their money. They won their grant, except for Alabama, which hasn't put their money forth yet.
Of course.
Bastards.
I'm not sure what I expected out of Alabama. But
Like, can we get the meme of the guy wiping his brows? He's got the buttons in front of him, and it's like incest joke or banjo joke. Like,
mashes both buttons.
Yeah, exactly. Pick an insult for Alabama.
Anyway,
oh boy, what have I gotten myself into?
for a moment, Lo, let's talk about the other part of Amtrak. There is a really cool. Oh, you know what? Did I forget to grab it? There was a thing of the Acella's interiors have all been redone, and they just wrapped up with that. But you can get a cool look inside the new Avalia Liberty trains and the facility in which they're constructing them. Here we have a couple of articles on that. So, that's it for me, unless I decide to grab another piece of news. Let's wrap up the rest of the news that we've got sitting here that's important, and then we'll move on to the end of the show.
Okay, I have a lot of news dealing with Steam in my neck of the woods.
Oh, do you now?
Okay. First, I'm going to start with Age of Steam. There's Steam into Victory events coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Foamers.
Yep, and one of their, I guess, surprise projects for it was
Supplies!
Goddamn.
was to restore one of their tenders into a Buy War Bonds livery. And
Looks cool.
saw the video on the Instagram page. As far as I can tell, it's done, and it's really cool. It's a real simple scheme, but I like it.
It's a cool one.
Yeah.
It's something you see in photographs and art a lot of the time, but never in person.
It'd be very easy to model. You just need a decal set and some spray paint and a tender. And I might do it. I think I have a spare tender laying around somewhere.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
it looks really sharp. I love it.
I didn't even know they were doing this. I just look on their Facebook one day, just like, our Buy War Bonds tender's coming along. Like, oh.
Surprise.
Ooh.
Surprise.
Okay. So there's that. Let's see. Okay, 765 lifted. Yep. All right, so 765 in the last week or so. Actually, yeah, in the last week, just got the tender just got the lead truck and the trailing truck finally updated to roller bearings to
Woohoo!
reduce maintenance costs whenever they're out and running. Finally,
They're running a hell of a lot better.
yeah. That's the one thing I noticed. It's like they do all these mainline trips, and they don't have roller bearings. Okay.
You can do it.
Yeah, but it's just like, okay.
I don't want to say I'm an adamant supporter of plane bearings because that's a really stupid and foamy thing to say, but at the same time, I think this idea that roller bearings are God compared to plane bearings is equally kind of overhyped and stupid. It was a Baldwin published study showed that above 35 miles an hour there's no noticeable difference between the two in terms of like actual friction.
Didn't know that. Anyway, yeah.
I mean, there is a slight higher proclivity to catch on fire, though.
Slightly.
Yeah.
But when it does catch on fire, you put the fire out, fill it back up with oil, and keep going. If a roller bearing fails, then you have to replace the entire bearing, if not the entire axle.
Yeah.
That's true.
They just
Anyway,
tend to do
yeah,
that less
roller
frequently.
Cool.
Yes, but when they do.
When they do.
Let's see. Okay, and then up in Cleveland for the at the Midwest Railway Preservation Society, they're doing a raffle to raise money for their Mikado's restoration number 4070. They are raffling off an O-gauge Christmas layout.
Ooh.
Let's see. Okay, included with the layout is a Lionel post-war turbine logo and freight cars, slighted ceramic buildings, figures, and a wood table.
Oh, wow.
That is 4 by 6.5 feet. The drawing will occur on December 8th at the last MRPS open house. Tickets can be purchased at the B&O Roundhouse during MRPS events. I might go for this because hey, it's only $1.
Well, and it's $1 to a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay. Back on the nickel plate. Yeah, back on the nickel plate side of things, up in Bellevue at the Mad River and NKP Museum. On August 17th, they will be hosting their 75th birthday. Birthday party. Yeah.
Ow. Ow.
Birthday?
Yes, like birthday. Okay.
I'm ashamed of them.
Yeah. Anyway, they are having a 75th birthday party for number 757.
Birthday. Say it right.
The fact that you're enforcing it makes it worse.
Anyway, yeah, they're having a little presentation about 757 and how they got it to the museum, and they're having a barbecue buffet and birthday cake in their 1927 nickel plate dining car. I might have to get up to do this, although I think Hawking announced something that we're going to do. Not sure what on the same day. So, shit.
Why?
I don't know. There's that. And then down at the Lebanon Mason Monroe Railroad, the Gremlins are coming back to town.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
The
They're
Gremlins
bringing
are coming. The
Jeddo
Gremlins
Cole
are
85. What?
So the Gremlins are coming. The Gremlins are coming.
The Gremlins. Yeah. They are bringing. Who's echoing?
Reese is.
Again.
Having problems with my mic setup here.
Yes.
Just mute it when you're not talking.
Just turn it off.
Thank you. Okay. So the Gremlins are bringing 85. Okay. They're bringing Jeddo Cole number 85 to town on August 3rd, 4th, 10th, and 11th. Trains leave at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m.
In the Jeddo.
I want to get down to do this. Wait a minute. Yeah,
That got a laugh, don't lie.
Yeah, go check out the LM&M. They're a class act down there, and I sort of might have connections there involving an observation card, but I can't talk about that thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's something at work.
Is Jada a burgeoning botanist as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda.
Good for you.
No, he's just
I'll talk about it when we're off the air.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave this chat though.
Okay.
Well, most of these things don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
yeah,
so
even
yeah,
if you
go
say it on the
check out-
podcast, it'll never leave this chat.
So yeah, as always,
Podcast space in the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as always, go support your local heritage, local tourist heritage and museums wherever you live.
Or don't.
They
No, do.
yeah,
Or don't. I ain't your mom.
yeah. Go support your local organizations. We
Also-
always need the support.
This is what happens if you don't, because we're talking about the nickel plate, that rail trail project that we discussed. That they're taking over the former nickel plate tracks.
Oh.
They are currently in the midst of being torn up. So
They lost the battle.
yeah,
You know the guy that was the head of the whole Save the Nickel Plate thing,
no. What about
or
him?
did you? I can't remember what entirely he was in town for, but I ran into him at Hawking and at ORM the next day.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Bummer.
that was cool.
There's a big article here about removing the ties and the plates and the rails, and
Is that the one that they were looking for contractors for it?
are they? It says
know.
there's an immediate job opportunity, but it's
Yep.
quite a heavy lift.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep. So, a lot of work. A lot of work to tear that up. It's a shame.
Yep.
Oh well, you can't win them all, I guess.
No. Oh well.
Mission failed.
We'll get them next time.
Snake! Snake!
But you know what might be one? Literally G&W. Because Brookfield is the leading bidder right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
To acquire
To
G&W?
acquire the rail.
the whole
Yes,
thing?
the whole thing.
All,
Oh my-
like, the international everything?
Like G&W.
Wow.
What did
so-
they do? Why are they up for receivership?
They're not. They're selling.
Oh,
G&W is selling.
interesting.
So, you know,
Huh,
they have a market
that's-
value about $5.5 billion. They own or
I'm
lease
surprised it's not
over
more.
100 short lines. I'm not actually sure if it's the international stuff because it just says U.S. and Canada, but oh no, it does say it has operations in Australia, the U.K., and continental Europe as well. So yeah,
Jiminy.
the Toronto-based investment firm is vying with rivals including Blackstone Group LP, Stonepeak Infrastructure, and EQT Partners to acquire the company, which has been exploring strategic options, including a sale, since at least March. We talked about it very briefly last time. I didn't have a whole lot to say. I don't recognize most of these companies anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, G&W, you might be seeing a huge paradigm shift upcoming because the entire company is about to be sold.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know when bidding closes, but
Interesting.
they are bidding
Buy
now.
for $1.
Yeah, $1. Also,
I got you,
speaking
dollar.
of low bidding, the train summer sale is afoot.
That's
Is
We
it
need-
technically
Go buy train
winter
17.
based in Australia?
What?
Is it technically winter because they're in Australia?
Yeah, but it's summer for us, and that's what matters.
Yes, it's their winter down under sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Come down.
Well, it's basically summer. So
Alright, well, if that's everything that we've got in terms of major stuff,
well, don't forget, there's also Run 8 Studios has just put out version 2 of their train simulator.
haven't they had version 2 for a while? I don't know, I'm not a Run 8 expert.
There's a
I think
Jillies.
they just had DLC.
Yeah, they had a lot of DLC added.
Okay.
in the ghetto.
In the Jeddo.
And also
The
it's the
Jeddo.
20th anniversary of the Amtrak Heartland Flyer as well.
Cool. They should extend that thing. They've been talking about it. Alright, it's time to play our favorite little game, the latest train on Amtrak. So, does anyone have guesses as to what the latest train on Amtrak is today? Oh wow, it's messy on the map. Oh man.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think I just found it.
Big think.
Oof, there are some service disruptions
Yeah.
on here.
Big heckin' think. I'm going to say the eastbound Southwest Chief.
Okay, eastbound Southwest Chief. Jada, what's your guess?
Let's do the westbound Sunset Limited.
The westbound Sunset. Alright. Reese, do you have a guess?
No.
No? Don't want to pick something? Anything?
Okay.
No, I'm just because I don't pay attention to Amtrak, if I'm honest.
Okay, well, shame
What's the
on
matter?
you.
You scared?
Yeah.
No,
What's the
I
matter,
just
McFly?
really can't be bothered.
Alright.
Chicken?
What was yours? Eastbound Southwest Chief?
Yes.
Eastbound Southwest Chief. Southwest Chief to Chicago. We've got one of those on system. It is yellow. It is only 32 minutes late. It's currently traveling at 80 miles an hour. It left Trinidad. It's
Not
on its way
bad.
to La Junta.
La Junta.
Alright, and the westbound Sunset is 2 hours and 7 minutes late. Good thing it's on the map. But the latest train on Amtrak, almost at the end of its run actually, if TBA were to walk outside, he might be able to see it go by. It is Amtrak 6, the California Zephyr to Chicago. It is
Aw.
5 hours and 36 minutes late. It is only just left. It left
Ugh.
Sacramento just a little while ago. It just left Roseville, as a matter of fact. It's real late. It's gonna have a bad time.
This Amtrak train is late? Whoa!
Yeah. Well, there are these following trains. There is also a City of New Orleans with a service disruption. I'm not sure what's going on there. There's a Heartland Flyer that's an hour late, but that's not really anything to write home about. And there's also a Northeast Regional that's 3 hours and 20 minutes late, experiencing a service disruption outside of DC.
That's a really bad one.
The Northeast corridor has had some power problems lately in certain sections, so it may be caused by that. Anyway, a lot of other things are late in some way, shape, or form. There are a lot of red and yellow trains on this map right now. Typically, things are mostly good, and then you have a few that are off, but everything around Chicago is... Well, a lot of the things around Chicago and a lot of things on the Northeast Corridor are having trouble right now, and there are only 2 or 3 long-distance trains that are in the green. So, yeah. So, that is that. Latest train on Amtrak is Amtrak 6. Why, well, I think I'm going to name the episode In the Jeddo. So,
good.
I noticed your termination there. Alright.
Yes.
That means it's time to terminate. Reese, you're up first. You get to say your last words.
Oh yeah,
Any last words?
Stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid, stupid.
Keep it stupid, stupid.
Keep us. Yeah.
No, don't be stupid, stupid. I learned that from Philip DeFranco.
Alright, Wybold.
Life ain't easy in the Jeddo.
Pimpin' ain't easy. If you want people to learn one thing, what would it be? It'd be that pimpin' ain't easy. I would like to present everyone with Bruce Springsteen's new album, Western Stars, because it's pretty good. My favorite off the album is Tucson Train, not because there's a train in it, but because it's a very good song. Everyone go ahead, check it out. I linked the playlist for it, so you can just sit back and listen to the thing. I totally approve.
I like how that has to be specified, that it's not
it does.
a favorite.
Listen, I
know it does. Trust me, I completely get it.
I was having a conversation with Donna Grace about the album, and, she goes, "Is your favorite song Tucson Train?" And I go, "Yes, but not because there's a train in it." She goes, sure.
Yeah,
It's like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good song. I'm gonna just say a termination for TBA. I'm gonna say my head hurts. I hope it feels better. Alright, Jader.
I just want to end with, go support your local railroad museums and tourist lines this summer.
Or don't.
Because the summer season is when we make our money. Summer season and Christmas trains. That's when we make our money to keep trains running.
Yeah.
And that's all thanks to you folks at home.
Yeah, I'd like to go out to Newport and go on those pedal carts at least, if not the dinner train, sometime this summer. But I hear they're tearing up tracks out there, so that's not good.
Yeah.
Go see it before it's gone. Huh?
Yeah, I know, right? I think it's just the part downtown, and I think I know why. They're going to be doing a whole realignment of the
They always
ramps.
seem to go, but you don't know what you got.
Yeah, they're doing a whole realignment of the ramps up to the Newport Bridge, so they might be tearing out the tracks because they're in the way. Not like they're right at the end of the line. It's not like they see much use anyway, but it's the tracks that lead up to the depot, so I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Terminus Podcast, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with the same old, and more Brightline crashes. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.